And to that piece of lieutenant that's always on his podcast, bash us, him.
All right, we're live.
Good morning. You know what? I think I'm going to have our friends and listeners to the podcast. They might have to do the introduction. Nighthawk 13666 has got the greatest introduction. Top of the morning, folks. Welcome to Roll Call. Like, share, and subscribe on your way in. All you latecomers, don't forget to hand in your 28s. Nighthawk President duty, sirs. Hey, brother, thank you so much for anyone who's outside the NYPD. 28 is actually a form that you fill out for vacation time, or they call it lost time if you're coming in late to work and you're going to get vacation time docked. Thank you so much, all our friends and listeners of the podcast that have sat through 4 hours twice of different podcasts yesterday about what's unraveling with the NYPD. And, we appreciate that you're sitting with us for all these hours, giving our perspective of what's going on with the NYPD as we unroll all the information. So, John's been putting all this stuff up on the computer and, at the same time, getting all the information to you. And thank you so much, because as we're doing the podcast and putting out the information, our friends and listeners to the podcast are giving us all the room and information and all the valuable information that we could put on the episode. So we appreciate that. We're all doing this together. Thank you so much for helping us. John, brother, you tired or what? How do you feel?
I feel good, bro. I feel good, but I don't feel like, I feel like there's a lot of shit that needs to happen still. Like everybody's like, oh, he's out. I'm like, and I hear the calls of everybody that are saying, why is just Kaban being singled out? And I really agree with it. Dude, I said to you just 2 seconds ago, I'm like, bro, if it's my first day, I'm walking in. Nice to meet all of you. Listen, you're all done, so I'd like your resignation papers. None of you are going to serve in this role anymore. The entire dream, the self-proclaimed dream team. Absolutely no way I keep anyone around me, because like I said, it's really true. Either you were too fucking stupid to see the scam, or you were in on it. But either way, I can't trust you. You're the new police commissioner. You're walking into this debacle. Debacle.
John, could you imagine? I think what I would do right now, I think I would put casino on, right? I would put 2 TVs. I would put Al Pacino as loud as possible from Scarface when he's fucking firing away. And at the same time, I would put on another TV screen with casino at the same time with that idiot who couldn't figure out what's going on in the casino, and have them come in and like, listen, and hear the 2 TVs. Like, listen, you know where to go. See the door, because everyone is infected right now. Again, just like Ed Bones, when it comes to the SBA, don't tell me that he's the only one that knew what's going on. He's the fall guy, brother. And I think the same thing is happening here with Ed Caban. Don't tell me he's the only one that everyone is he's a one-man show. Come on now. I mean, because half the time he's not even here. So he's doing all this from guitar.
Nah, dude, and I said it yesterday, and I always say it, integrity is a non-negotiable in policing. It's a non-negotiable. And this, they love to call themselves a leadership team, but this politically appointed management team has proven time and time again to lack integrity. So I'm saying right now, the bums got to go. Throw them all out. Throw every single one of them out, because after I play you this video, after we play you this video and we show you who's involved, we're going to go into where they work, who they're connected to. We had Marlon Bethel. I got to give a big shout out to him. He's been in the background, looking, giving us information, researching. Eric Adams terminated very competent people. He forced a lot of competent people out of the NYPD. It's going to come and bite him in the ass. So, I'm betting you wish you pulled that mandate now. I'm betting you wish you pulled that mandate. I'm betting you wished you did things a lot different now, because a lot of this is going to come back to bite you in the ass. So, I mean, what do you got before we get this video? Anything? Because, I mean, honestly, when I saw it, I was like, I'm not surprised, motherfucker. I'm not.
I want to say that too. Again, the failure on the leadership. Forget about all this corruption going on. This really is the icing on the cake. Just solidifies how bad this administration is. But forget, even if we didn't have all this corruption, just terrible leadership. Again, how did John McCarry, intelligent, experience in the police department, experience in life, great leader, how did they let him leave the job? How did they let me leave the job? A special operations lieutenant, anti-crime sergeant, former Marine, served in combat. I went to OCS, honor grad. I have all this experience to offer. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but we are just two of so many other good men and women from the police department that have great attributes. How they let them leave? And that's why I said it's terrible leadership. How did nobody, not one person, I had 8 sets of administrative charges in 6 weeks from CCRB, never had any discipline. How did that not come up as a red flag? How did one person in charge at the police commissioner or the first step, who was Ed Caban at the time, say, wait a minute, that's a red flag. What is going on here? And then I was told by Lou Turkle that he would speak to Ed Caban, and Ed Caban could possibly dismiss them. And you know what was regurgitated back to me? Nothing could be done. Wow. I'm sure a lot could be done, if you're in the Hispanic society or if you're Kaz Daughtry. If you got the hand of the king, and that's why I would say nepotism is connected to corruption, you're in. There's a great comment here before you go. And absolutely, like spot on right here. I think it's from Patrick Donahue. It's hilarious, but it's true. Man, these comments are flying in. I can't even keep up with them. Anyway, I can't find it, but the whole point, Patrick Donahue put a comment about it. It didn't go over too well that certain people were bragging about not going to 233 Broadway. So you're 100% right, because they're headed to 500 Pearl Street. John, let's get right into it. This just keeps unraveling day by day.
Yeah, so this video comes out NBC4 investigative team. I forget the reporter's name. It's this guy over here. But a lot of you guys sent it to me. I really appreciate it. So I actually passed out after we did. As soon as I woke up, I had this about 70 times. So I appreciate you guys. We put it out on the thing. We threw our logo over it as well, because I'm like, why not? And yeah, Brooklyn bar owner alleges shakedown. Here we go.
Federal corruption investigation into City Hall and the NYPD now includes allegations of a shakedown. A Brooklyn bar owner says he was told that his problems with the NYPD would go away if he paid the police commissioner's brother. And he says it was a worker in the mayor's office who tried to help arrange that deal. Chief investigative reporter Jonathan Dietz joins us now with details.
Chuck, the bar owner had his permits, his liquor license, and his share of noise complaints. But what he says he needed, a break from tough NYPD enforcement. Seeking help, he says he was introduced to a mayoral staffer and then to the twin brother of the NYPD's top cop. And then he says he was asked for thousands in payments.
I felt like it was like I got an ultimatum. Like, it's either you get with this or you're going to get shut down. We're going to make sure you get shut down.
Shamel Kelly says it was this man, mayoral staffer Ray Martin, who first told him he could pay the police commissioner's brother to help get better treatment from the NYPD.
He just said that he was assistant of Eric Adams, and he know people, and he dropped the Mr. Eddie Kaban name because he's I guess the NYPD commissioner, and I was having problems with the NYPD.
Later, Kelly says the police commissioner's brother James Caban told him he could help with his NYPD problems if he paid him $2,500 up front. The state liquor authority says Kelly's bar was not facing any charges of wrongdoing, but there were dozens of noise complaints to 311 about loud music. Kelly says he felt too many cops from the 6-0 precinct kept showing up, hurting his relatively new business, the Juice and More Bar, along Mermaid Avenue. And he says his pleas for help from the NYPD and local community board were unsuccessful. Kelly said he never expected that Ray Martin from the mayor's office would give him this advice.
He went on about how he thinks that I should just close the bar, and if I don't close the bar, there's only one way to get the police to stop doing what they're doing, and that's to speak to one of his friends, which was the James Caban guy.
James Caban, an ex-cop, is the twin brother of NYPD Commissioner Eddie Kaban. Kelly showed us phone records and text messages from August 2023, where Martin from the mayor's office allegedly encouraged Kelly to contact James Caban. Hey, Shamel, reminder to call James. Kelly says these phone records and texts show he and the commissioner's brother discussed the issues surrounding his business, a business which was a juice bar by day and licensed to serve alcohol on weekend nights. James Caban allegedly wrote, spoke to the commanding officer, and the biggest complaint from the community board is that you're registered as a juice bar, and now you're doing parties there. Lots of noise complaints.
If you have a license to serve alcohol, it shouldn't matter. And I also explained to him that the community board knew that it was the summertime, so they knew we were going to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday night events.
Records suggest Kelly and Caban also spoke by phone. And that's when Kelly says James Caban asked him for the initial $2,500.
He said that he will mediate my issues with NYPD. He could bring them to me, have a meeting, resolve our issues, is what he specifically said he could do. After he said I had to pay him for it, I felt like it was him trying to extort me. So I just was like, you know what? No, I'm good. I'll just deal with it how I deal with it, and it got worse.
Kelly says the Ray Martin and James Caban connection bothered him.
I assume that you would be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's call a meeting. Let's figure out what this problem is. I'm not expecting for you to be like, oh, you got to pay me some money if you want this problem to go away. Nah, that doesn't fall with me.
Martin did not return requests for comment. James Caban's attorneys issued this statement. Mr. Kaban unequivocally denies any wrongdoing. His work as a consultant and acting as a liaison between the department and a private company is perfectly legal, especially given his previous career as an NYPD officer. Our client has fully cooperated with law enforcement, and once their investigation is complete, it will be clear that these claims are unfounded and lack merit. Former NYPD Chief of Department and NBC New York consultant, Terence Monahan.
Everything we heard from the bar owner, if those allegations are true, it's at minimal unethical and possibly criminal in the way that they were dealing with the bar owner.
I've been really like hurt, disappointed, stressed, depressed.
Kelly is not just making the allegations now. He posted his concerns on social media back in February, but at the time, few noticed. As for Juice and More, Kelly closed it down in February.
I don't think it was just me. I think that's probably a thing that's going on in New York City specifically, to be honest.
City Hall late today issued this statement. We appreciate WNBC for bringing this information to our attention yesterday afternoon. After receiving this inquiry, we immediately began an internal review and found that Mr. Martin violated the terms of his employment. Mr. Martin was terminated for cause yesterday. We expect all city employees to act ethically and in the public interest. That staffer, Martin, now fired, and again, he has not returned requests for comment. We just spoke with the bar owner again, and he tells us the feds and DOI investigators are with him, interviewing him this afternoon in connection with the ongoing corruption investigations into City Hall and the NYPD. Natalie.
Chief.
Hey, John, how convenient that Mayor Eric Adams never mentioned this aide and never mentioned that he was terminated. How convenient. And on another quick note, before we actually dive into this, Matthew O'Brien, good morning, brother. He says, take a knee, Terence. You know, I'm with you, brother. I don't care. First of all, when Terence Monahan was talking, I could care less what that guy has to say. He lost all credibility and all respect on my behalf. I could care less what he has to say. Take a knee, brother. Now, I know we're going to dive into this. So, John, why don't you start? Let's dive into this because there's so much to peel back here.
So just on Terence Monahan, and Terry, if you're listening to this, I have no doubt in my mind if they would have kept you on, you'd be embroiled in this scandal too. So good work, because you were kneeler and you would have went along with a ride too. You bended your good name, your hard work, this shield. You started all of this. So that's my first thoughts about Terence Monahan. But obviously what we just heard here is an extortion, shakedown, racketeering allegation, right? We just heard that. Would you hear that? You heard that the police commissioner's brother was using his influence with the NYPD to make money. You heard that the 60 precinct commanding officer was fielding phone calls and giving information to the police commissioner's brother. We know he had a detail, right? What else was being accused is that he was working at Manhattan nightclubs. So this consulting company was working citywide. I think at this point it's safe to allege that there's a lot of people wrapped up in this, and there's a lot of people that know what's going on, and there's a lot of people that did this. Oh, I don't know what's going on. And there's a lot of people that played along and bended their integrity to stay in the good graces, maybe get a bump to DI, maybe get a bump to full bird, maybe get that 1 star. And to me, the mayor's office is implicated. You know, we had brought you 2 shows ago. We had showed you how the March program had got pulled down. And the March program was a multi-agency response task force to bars and restaurants and nightlife in New York City. And, you know, I made us think about it when it happened. I said, like, why are we doing this? Like, this doesn't even make any sense. Like, why is the thing that we can't keep New Yorkers safe? Like, why is this a problem? They're like, oh, the enforcement of it. You know, we're going to create this new cure program, and I'm going to create this new office of nightlife. And they put this guy in charge of it, Garcia, whatever. And, you know, we were told by the police commissioner, by Jeffrey Madry, by Adams, by the nightlife mayor, by all these different people that, well, we're not going to seek enforcement anymore. And we're not going to go around. We're going to cure, right? We're going to help businesses grow. Almost consulting, right? And there was a lot of questionable statements that came out. Looking in hindsight, that came out from Ed Kaban, that came out from Jeffrey Madry, that came out from the mayor, that came out from the nightlife guy, whatever his name is. And the guy that you see here, that he's saying he reached out to him for help. So this business owner reached out to the Office of Nightlife. He reached out to them for help. That's the guy. That's where he worked. He worked at the Office of Nightlife. I'll pull up his business card in a little bit, and I'm going to show that to you. But he worked at the Office of Nightlife. And this is what happened when he reached out to him. He got given information that's a protection racket scandal. Pay me, and it goes away. Or don't pay me, and now you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a bigger problem than you already have.
So there's a couple things to peel back here. I mean, this could take hours, but so at this point, what I feel like what we have at this point is it's like you're in the kitchen and you're making a sandwich. You got your piece of bread, you put your meat on it, and what we're missing right now is that second piece of bread. We got a lot of information here. We have the bar owner contacted the mayor's office, the nightlife office. We have communication between them. We have communication them inferring and directing that there is a racketeering scheme with the brother of Ed Caban, and he actually names the commissioner as well. Now, what we're missing at this point, and that's the missing piece that we're going to get, is what is on the phones of Ed Caban and those in and around him, and also Mayor Eric Adams and his aides. That's going to be the second piece of bread that's going to put this all together. Now, I'll say this. So, John, sure enough, I think we've been far ahead of the news because of our perspective on police, and we're willing to speak the truth, along with our friends and listeners to the podcast. And we've been putting this entire thing together. And I'll say this. The entire upper echelon of the police department, I've been saying it, has been infected and compromised. They all need to go. In order to carry out this racketeering scheme, if it does turn out to be true, if this guy Martin's not just flexing any muscle to look cool, right? Because we need a second piece of bread here. Then the entire job is infected. And some people have been infected because they know what's going on. And some are infected because they're just acting stupidly, not because they're stupid, because they're doing their job. So I think the key to this is going to be the 311s, John. If you look at the 311s, and that's why I say it's unfortunate how many people are being dragged into this and may knowingly know what's going on or just may be doing it stupid. And as a special operations lieutenant, I could say, and John, you know it, you're in charge of the 301s. You're in charge to audit those 301s. Now, I was fortunate to work in housing, so that wasn't my forte at nightlife locations. But if you're in a precinct like the 6O and you have nightlife locations, you're the special operations lieutenant. You're in charge of those 301s, especially the noise complaints. Why? Because the theory behind the police department is noise complaints can lead to violence and also potential shootings, and in many cases it does. So you're the lieutenant, and let's say you're just doing this unknowingly, and you're communicating with your commanding officer who does have the information and is potentially communicating with the upper echelon up to James Caban, the brother, and Ed Caban. So now, remember what I said, John, we talked about this. In order to have teeth to this hustle, there needs to be muscle. And that's why I feel sorry for the cops, because those cops you see standing out there, if this allegation is true, the cops standing out at the bar, they were the muscle. Unknowingly, they were the muscle. They went to this 311 here, allegedly at this point. They were summoned to these 311 locations to show muscle, because here's the potential. If you don't pay, then these cops are going to summon you. And the lieutenant is sending them there. And the commanding officer is communicating with the upper echelon if this is true. So, John, just think the whole job may be affected at this point, knowingly or unknowingly.
Well, absolutely. There's going to be cops that have absolutely no idea what they did. Things that look weird, but nothing real weird. You're going in there, just 90 yellow. That's nothing. It's nothing. Don't worry about it, kid. It's just a 90 yellow. You follow the sergeant's orders. Okay, no problem. You didn't know what the hell was going on there. Oh, there's a problem. It's giving us problems. Oh, nah, nothing's going on there. Lay off that bar tonight. Nothing's going on there. You're not going to know. Why would you think anything's weird, So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people implicated in that. But like I said, this stems from corruption at the top. So I'm not even honing in on the special operations lieutenants or the sergeants at this point. And, I'm sure all you guys are sweating too. But we really got to look at the top. I mean, the chief of patrol's entire police force has been weaponized. They've been weaponized. Commanding officers that fall under him, the deputy commissioner of operations, the first deputy commissioner. I mean, they're all, if what is being alleged is true, and it appears to be true. I mean, look at where Ray Martin works. He works at the mayor's office of nightlife. To me, seems like the mayor's in on it too. Seems like the whole reason the March program was pulled down is to alleviate the checks and balances and when it comes to nightlights. And I literally, if you go back on my tweets, I was literally saying, I guess Eric Adams' friends aren't going to have a problem anymore. I guess all Eric Adams' friends that were having a problem with these March programs aren't going to have that problem anymore. But it's even worse, because it looks like people are looking to profit off of businesses in New York City. So that's Ray Martin. You call the Office of Nightlife to ask for help. You call a New York City agency to get for help. And next thing you know, you're involved in a racketeering extortion scheme. And if you don't go along, guess what happens? Your business is shuttered. It's gone. They're going to hammer you until your business is done. So, I hear all the Hispanic organizations. I hear I hear you guys. I 100% hear you. I hear the Dominican organization. Why is it just Ed Caban? I hear the Cabans. You know what? But I think that's going to be a grave mistake on Eric Adams' part. And I think that's going to be a grave mistake for the rest of the New York City Police Department, because all those people that were chomping at the bit, Eddie's gone, I'm going to take his seat. Because they never really liked Eddie anyway, right? They were just waiting for his seat anyway, right? Kaz, weren't you? John, weren't you? You all just wanted to be the police commissioner anyway, right? Now you're not, and you're furious. But you guys should have known what was going on. And if you didn't, I'm going to say again, either you're too fucking stupid to see the scam, or you were in on it. But either way, it doesn't matter. Throw the bums out. This stinks. It stinks to high hell. I mean, this is honestly a black eye on the stain of the entire department. And the only way to correct this right now is for numerous resignation letters. But guess what? You guys left Eddie Caban out there. You left James Caban out there. And you were all fucking in on it. What do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to exhibit loyalty to you now? I don't think so. I think they're going to take everybody fucking with them.
So the reason why I was pointing out what's going on at the actual 6-0 precinct, this particular case, what's alleged. There, there's the scene where you see the cops standing there at these nightlife locations. Know what I know about 301s, right? Because 301s, you have to audit them and really what's meant for them.
Just tell everybody what a 311 is, because I think a lot of people aren't going to know what the hell you're talking about.
That's true. That's true. So for any of our active NYPD members, they're aware of what 301 is. Retired guys, if they're retired a long time, they may not know. They probably, some of them, they're out of state right now. So the 301 is an actual system that the NYPD harbors, maintains, and monitors for low-level complaints that should not immediately go to 911. It's not something that's an emergency, but they're monitored by the New York City Police Department, and based on priority, the police department will respond from each precinct. And it's so developed now. It's not only, it used to be just by a phone call years ago, but now we actually have a 311 system. So the 311, someone calls 311, says, hey, I have, there's a loud noise stemming from the apartment next door. And, it's 11 o'clock at night. And so that would go into a system, and who's ever working the telephone switchboard at each precinct would monitor that system and say, okay, here's a noise complaint, such location. And when a sector available patrol car of 2 police officers is available based on priority, they would respond to that noise complaint. Now, here's why it's so important. John, that's a great point. I'm glad that we pointed out that 311 system. So those are low-level complaints that the police department monitors, and the special operations lieutenant of each precinct monitors and audits that 311 system and makes sure that they're properly being assessed. And also the special operations unit, they're also involved to make sure that those complaints are being addressed. And the reason why this is so important, John, and this is why I say the entire upper echelon of the police department is infected, is because, John, where do those 311 complaints get discussed? They get discussed at CompStat. Who is at CompStat? Every chief that is on this job goes to CompStat. If you're in Brooklyn and there's a CompStat, every chief is going, unless you're on vacation. Same thing for every borough. And the 311 cases are always discussed. Why? Because the theory is that if you do not address these 311 complaints, which is part of broken windows, intrusive police work, they become something bigger and they lead to potential violence. And in many cases, they're right. And what we did analyze when I was a special operations lieutenant in housing, we received numerous complaints of gambling. Low-level crime doesn't necessarily require a 911 response. But what happens when those street gambling cases are not addressed? Unfortunately, in many cases, as they start drinking, or sometimes as gang rivals, they turn into shootouts in many cases. And we've had numerous homicides as a result of it. And these 311 cases always come up at CompStat. Huge issue. John, even further, what do we know, John? We know that in each precinct right now under Eric Adams, there's a sergeant assigned to 301s. Sergeant has to go and make sure that they're addressed in a timely manner. So again, I'm going to say, every chief on this job, if they're not aware of it, I'm going to agree with you, John. They're in on it, or they are too fucking dumb. So get them all the fuck out. You know what? Sometimes it hurts us on getting monetized when we curse, but this time we have to put emphasis on it. Get them out. They're bums. Every one of them knows. Everyone at the top knows. Even the commanding officers. You go to CompStat. You have these 301s. It's one of the most important things mentioned at CompStat.
Throw the bums out. So yeah, so you know the list of 311 complaints, right? So there'll be a clear picture of enforcement done in the past for 311 complaints and lack of enforcement done going after that, right? After the end of the March program, right? You're going to be able to see that clear as day. I remember a time there was a lady, she builds a house near a bar. So it wasn't like the bar showed up after she built the house. She built the house next to the bar. And every night, all night, she called 311 and complained, or 911. She used both of them. She called about noise at the bar. So I remember one day my SOL, my special operations lieutenant, he's like, John, can you do me a favor? Go over there with the sound meter, see if they're playing the music loud, work out the decibel. He's like, we don't need to hammer the bar. I don't even think they're keeping the music loud. He's like, I've been in there. I don't even think that they play music in there. Right. So he's like, I think she's talking about the voices, but just check the sound decibel. Maybe if it breaks it, then we're going to take corrective action against the bar. I said, okay, no problem. I go over to the lady's house. I don't hear a peep. And she's like, you hear that? And I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm sorry. I don't hear anything. I was like, and she's yelling at me and I'm sitting there. And the whole time in my head, I'm just like, why would you build a house near a bar and then just complain? You didn't think you were going to be mad? And the whole time in my head, I didn't say anything. I'm just sitting there like, okay, I get it, ma'am. I understand. I'm like, listen, I have the sound meter. If they violate it, I'll go over there. I'll have them fix it. I'll have them remedy it and it won't bother you. I said, but I have it right now. There's nothing going on. And then, and I'm like, and as she's like talking, she's yelling at me. I'm like, I'm going to go check the bar and see if they have the music on it. And I go in. And as I open the door, they do have the music on and I hear it. But there's nothing hitting this woman's house. I couldn't even hear it until they had like a little jukebox and it wasn't even loud. It wasn't like blaring. It was actually like low tone. And I did that same thing about 10 times. I kept having to go over there with the sound meter. Nothing was going on. And I remember a borough inspector at one time, he was just like, make these 311 stop. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? And he goes, I don't care. I just want them to stop. And he was a loser. He wound up becoming the chief of Staten Island. So if you're listening to this, I won't blow you up, but you're a loser. And he's like, make it stop. And I was like, what should I do? I was like, should I go over there and kill her? Like, what do you want me to do? She could call 311 all day. There's nothing I could do. I'm like, she's going to call 311 every night. So I don't know what to tell you. I said, it is what it is. She's going to call 311 every night. The bar doesn't violate the law. You can't even hear a peep in our house. I don't know what her problem is. I get it. Sometimes at night, people are going to stumble out of that bar and be loud. And I would hate it too, but I wouldn't have built my house by a bar. I don't know what else to tell. I don't know what else you guys want me to do. I went over there like 15 times. I was like, I don't need to keep going over there with the sound meter. But that's how serious these 311 calls are taken. That's how serious they're taken. And now you're going to have tons and tons of 311 calls, tons and tons of 911 calls, and you're not going to see any action taken against it.
John, the 311 system is monitored by the special operations lieutenant. Now, I'm not blaming the special operations lieutenant, but the special operations lieutenants do respond to CompStat. I know because I was a special operations lieutenant. You go to the CompStat with the commanding officer. It's the commanding officer, the special operations lieutenant, and the field intelligence officer. And the field intelligence officer also look at 301. Now, I'm not necessarily going to blame the field intelligence officer and special operations lieutenant. They may unknowingly be muscle and racketeering without knowing it because they're working under the guise of the commanding officer. But the commanding officer, if in fact this is alleged allegations are true, no doubt about it, is affected by it and is in on it. You cannot be that stupid. There has to be a level of communication with this. Because what do we also know about the NYPD? John, this was always presented to me, and you probably heard the same thing. And I used to hear, if it's not on paper, it didn't happen. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Right? That was always the theme of the police.
That's the NYPD. If you didn't put it on paper, nothing happened.
Exactly. So exactly that. If you respond to CompStat, you're a commanding officer of a precinct. They say, hey, listen, we have these nightlife locations, and you have 55 complaints in 4 days at this location. What did you do about it? So if you don't have any paper, any summonses, or any type of enforcement at the location, guess what you did? You did nothing. So that's why everyone is affected by this also. What was the response? You couldn't just say, we went there, showed up, had a conversation, was over. You had 55 complaints in 2 days. There had to be something documented. You had to, in that case, do something, because otherwise your corrective action did not happen.
100%, dude. 100%. I mean, and you know, I just want to backpedal because I wasn't given a free pass on the special operations lieutenants. I'm just saying the majority of them, I think you could innocently like not know what the hell you just did, or like, you know, you're so busy, dude. You're not realizing. Oh yeah, whatever. Your CO calls you, yeah, whatever. Stupid job, right? Noise complaint. Not even think. You're not really. It's not on your radar, right? You're thinking about all these other things. The noise complaints are a hassle for you. They're not really your focus. You know. I do think there are some special operations lieutenants that need to go too. They're part of the bums. I'm saying throw out. I'm not saying all of them. And you know, the people I feel the most bad for are just the cops that responded to jobs that are going to get caught up in this whole entire thing that really had no fucking idea what was going on. Because you know, there's probably a lot of them. It's probably a lot of them. So Patrick Donahue has two great questions. One is, what was Martin's qualification for the position of the mayor's office of nightlife? Follow the money. So I'm going to read you an article about him. Marlon Bethel had sent it in, and we'll get to know Martin a little better, and then you'll see what his qualification was. Absolutely nothing. We'll read that in a minute, but I think your second question's even more impactful. And Eric, I'd just like you to answer this, and then you know I'll talk about it too. What kind of investigation was conducted for Martin to be terminated in one day? What do you think? What type of investigation was done?
I think that was an amazing question, right? Because while that video was playing, right immediately after when the video was finished, what did I say? I said, "Oh, how convenient that Martin was terminated right away. How convenient." So Patrick Donahue, absolutely. You know what investigation was done? Nothing. Why? Because they don't want an investigation done. They don't want an investigation done because if there is an investigation done, if all these allegations are true, and the more appearance of impropriety that we see, I mean, come on, most of us on this thread right now, listeners, our friends of the podcast, are cops. And if you're not cops, you're intelligent people, because I see the comments how you weigh in. And Marlon, thank you so much for that information. That's why I love these lives. We build each other. We help each other out to put this information out there. Stuff that John and I maybe don't have access to or overlooked. So we help each other out. So absolutely. If he was terminated one day, Patrick Donahue, you obviously are definitely a cop or retired, because you did exactly what a cop does. You asked a question that you already know the answer to. And the answer is there was absolutely no investigation, because they don't want an investigation. Because an investigation will reveal all this information. Another blight on this administration, another shroud of bad judgment. To me, it's another indicator that this all in fact is going to be true.
100%. I mean, what's the investigation? The investigation is, oh shit, we got caught. Oh shit, we got caught. What do we do? All right, we're gonna fire you, okay? And you're gonna keep your mouth shut. They're running around like chickens without a head at City Hall. They're running around like chickens without a head, and there's a lot of parking lot meeting going on, you know. And I don't think they're having them on level S in One Police Plaza anymore. You're welcome, guys. But you know, yeah, there was zero investigation done, because obviously the Office of the Nightlife is well aware of what's going on, and obviously, so was the mayor. So was the mayor. That's what that seems like to me. If you could make a determination in one day, that means right then and there, and this guy was terminated right then and there, it's a smoking gun. You got the gun. You got the evidence right there. So I'd love to have Terry Monahan here to answer some questions. So Terry, if you're listening to this, bro, jump on. You could redeem yourself. I'd love to hear your answers. Let's read about Mr. Martin. So this comes in from the Brooklyn paper. Marlon Bethel had researched this and sent this over to the podcast. So this was on May 28th of 2008. Before I read this, there's 659 people in here. We appreciate everybody for joining us this morning. We'll probably go about 2 hours. Not going to go all day again. You guys could just do us a favor, like, share out the space, subscribe if you like what you're hearing. If you're on social media, if you could just drop us a like and share, get some more people in here, get some more thoughts and a little bit more information. All right, so here's James aide to be deported. city council staffer to get boot over technicality. So James is Tish James, who's, by the way, it's Friday and hasn't tweeted in 2 days, nor has said a word about the police commissioner. So a well-known and admired aide and city council member, Letitia James's office, is facing imminent deportation stemming from a minor drug infraction in 1985. Ray Martin, 44, who's listed as a James deputy chief of staff, but works mainly as a community liaison, was arrested last week after immigration and customs enforcement agents raided his Flatbush residence. Oh, nice guy. The immigration authorities in the aftermath of September 11th are destroying families, and I'll be happy when a Democrat is in the White House to reform these draconian laws that have touched me personally and what my office has been dealing with the last 5 years, James said. Don't those words ring home true, huh? Yet she keeps winning elections. It's unbelievable. And this paper went to the press. Martin was held at the Immigration and Naturalization Services Detention Center on Varick Street in Manhattan. He could conceivably be sent to his native Jamaica within another day, according to his attorney, Cheryl David. According to David and several sources familiar with the story, Martin immigrated with his family, including 7 siblings, in the late 70s when he was 12 years old. In 1985, Martin was busting for attempting to buy a controlled substance, a misdemeanor. He pleaded guilty and paid a fine. Martin went to Barbados in 2001, and upon his return to the country, custom agents ran a check. They found an old drug offense and confiscated his green card. He failed to show up at the ensuing immigration hearing, saying he was sick, and on November 9, 2001, a deportation order issued. ICE official did not respond to phone calls concerning either Martin's case or what prompted them to go to Martin's residence and pick him up more than 6 years after the order was issued. David said in the 1990s, immigration laws were tightened where legal resident aliens, known as green card holders, were held to higher standards to remain in the country legally and could be deported for even a minor drug infraction. Sounds like a fair proposition to me. James said these laws were further tightened following September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. And that, my friends, is how you secure a nation, the sovereignty of a nation. In order to work for a city council member, Martin needed an official government background check. Spokesperson for City Council Christine Quinn said the background check would have been done through the city's Department of Administrative Services, also known as DCAS, and the Speaker's office, but did not have further information on Martin at press time. James said Martin has been on her staff since 1993 and prior to that worked for the city's small business services under the jurisdiction of the mayor, Mike Bloomberg's office. A DOI, Department of Investigation spokesperson, said the agency does only background investigations on city managers and employees earning over $80,000. James and Martin had been flagged by the city, and he was told he was working on resolving the issue. I've been working with authorities on his behalf on a number of fronts around the clock, said James. If it wasn't for these draconian laws, which have destroyed families and separated children, he could have gone to court and resolved it. James said it's important to note that Martin has not been involved in the criminal justice system since 1985. He's a solid citizen and a loyal employee, and I'm doing all I can to reverse this. I want to thank everyone who has come forward to provide the support, said James. Sources said Martin, whose father died about 2 years ago, helped support his mother, his fiance, and her son, and several other family members. So there you go. That is our friend, Mr. Martin. Office of Nightlife of the Mayor.
Yeah, again, I want to shout out to Marlon. Marlon, great friend to the podcast, should not have been terminated by the police department. And again, this is the failure of the leadership on the police department. Did you think that John McCary and Eric Dim and Marlon Bethel and many others, not just us, we can't name everybody, right? We were ambitious while we were in the police department. Did you think we were not going to be ambitious after the police department? Thank you, Marlon, for doing investigative work outside the police department, continuing to use your intelligence and helping us out. Brother, you're a great friend to the podcast. I appreciate it. I mean, this speaks volumes. This says it all. I mean, again, we're putting all this stuff together. Right now, we just need that second piece of bread to put on top here and to make this one giant sandwich and put this all together. This potentially could be, John, and I say it. We spoke about this. What is more important, what crime was committed or who committed the crime, and we both said it's both, especially because when it involves leadership, especially the stems of leadership we see throughout this administration, this could potentially be the largest corruption case in New York State and arguably the entire country we've ever seen, John.
That's what it's shaping up to be. That's what it's shaping up to be. So Maron brings up a good point. I just want to read it. He says, for all we know, Martin could have simply been referring folks to James Caban for help, and Kaban simply took the opportunity to get his crumbs because everyone is eating off the system in some form or another. So I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to disagree with you because this is the office to help those clubs. Why would you're not, Marlon, we were all cops. You're not allowed to refer services to anybody. People come up to you on New York City streets. What's your favorite restaurant? I'm like, listen, or could you recommend a restaurant? I'm like, I can't recommend a restaurant, but I eat at, like, you know what I mean? But I just ate there. It was good, but I can't give you a recommendation. We're literally trained that in the police department. And that is, because you're steering business. It's business steering. So this is the office that handles nightlife. You're having an issue with the police department. You're having an issue with Department of Buildings. You're having an issue with the health department. You're having an issue with the fire department. You're having violations. They were going to cure it, right? And instead, they're saying, nah, call this guy. Call that guy. So I'm not saying that this guy's not a fall guy and he might not know what he was doing. But it looks like a lot of people in that office knew what was going on. It looks like that office was put in place for those exact reasons. So you go back to my earlier tweets when I said that. I said it the minute that thing got pulled down. The minute that thing got pulled down, I said, this makes absolutely no sense. And everybody should raise an eyebrow at this. Everybody should be asking, why are we getting rid of the March program? Everybody should be asking it. The appearance of impropriety is there. And sure enough, this cure office is referring people. And you see it clear as day. It was in that text, in that video. Martin texted the business owner, call James Caban. Did you call James yet? So I hear what you're saying. We got to look around everything. The way I'm looking at it, I say there's a problem. I say that there's a big problem here. What do you think about?
I see Marlon's comment. He put, I agree. No making excuses for him. He's worked in government long enough to know better. Sometimes you can't tell someone's demeanor. Marlon, I love you, brother. I have to admit, when I first saw your comment, I thought you were being facetious. I thought you were kind of being sarcastic about it. Like, for all we know, he's just speaking to James. Because I find that hard to believe. And again, I believe that if this is true, this guy may be dumb enough just to believe that he's doing the right thing or not even know what the hell he's doing. But if this is true, in order to carry this out, I will say this again, this takes extreme amount of communication and extreme amount of resources. I don't think that you could carry this out with James Caban just alone, because you need teeth behind it. Because if you're willing to, if this is going the manner which we believe, right? Let's say Marlon's right. There's just communication with James Caban. How does James Caban actually show the muscle behind that? Like, hey, listen, if you don't pay, then you're going to start getting these summonses. So how does James pull that off? Because if he doesn't, he's just bluffing, right? And eventually someone's going to call his bluff. So I would say in order to carry this out, there has to be a level of communication. John, would you agree? I find it hard to believe that there's not. And also, I just want to add this on here. So that's why I love these comments. Our friends listen to the podcast, trolls. I see communication, different conversations. And I saw a couple of people say, well, Chief Kemper was in transit, so he's good. He doesn't know about it. Wrong. He goes to Comstat just like every other chief. He's involved in serious meetings in the police department. He's involved in everything. Absolutely not. There's no coincidence that Chief Kemper left at this time. Tell me different. I don't believe otherwise.
Yeah, I have a few questions for them, but I won't ask them on here because I don't want to prep them for anything. So I don't want them to come up with an answer. So I'm not gonna ask those questions. But Tabitha, I see you. If you ever want to come on here, let us know. Just want to get that out there. So let's get into the next article. All right, let's talk about, let's see, the Post breaks down the bar owner. Let's see what they say. I'll tell you, the Post has been like, ugh, I don't know. I like them. They've been going, but some of their articles, I guess they got to put out a shitload of articles, but some of the articles, I'm just like, what the hell? And this isn't one of them, but I'm just, All right, so New York City bar owner claims outgoing NYPD commissioner brother tried to extort him over police enforcement report. Wonder where you guys heard that first about the extortion racketeering scheme? Wonder. I can't put my finger on it. So the appointment of veteran lawman Tom Sullivan as interim NYPD commissioner still leaves a void atop the nation's largest police force. There's no shortage of contenders for permanent top cop. Mayor Eric Adams' pick of Donlin. Eric, before I even go further, do you believe that Eric Adams picked Donlin?
We were just talking about this literally 30 seconds before we started. I said, there's no doubt in my mind. No one can tell me different. Eric Adams did not, 1,000% did not put Donlin as the police commissioner of the New York City Police Department. First of all, it goes completely against the grain, against his theme with the first of many. And when he talks about, he said it himself. He said, we need to change the image of the police department. So we're going 360 right back to the old image of the old pale white male and stale. So that's what we got, right? That is not a pick. If anyone thinks that Mayor Eric Adams appointed Donlin as the police commissioner of the New York City Police Department, then you seriously need to wake up. Absolutely not. I would put my last dollar on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with you. Well, I think ultimately he appointed him. I think ultimately Eric Adams appointed him.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm with you, man. I don't think that was his pick. You know why? Because it goes against. You're 100% right, and I'll pull it up again if I can find it. I'll pull it up again. But when the day that Ed Kaban was anointed police commissioner, we said it on here 1,000 times, so I don't even have to play it for you. I'll just tell you what Eric Adams said. He said the NYPD has a great crime fighting profile, but it doesn't have a good image profile. When you look at the NYPD, you don't see the diversity. You don't see the youth. And then before he went further in his racist statement, he pulled a mother up on stage, and then that was the end of it. So that's what happened. But so Tom Sullivan, when I look at him, I don't see the diversity. I don't see the youth. I see the too pale, too male, too stale white guy that was standing behind him, like John Shell. Look, is he talking about me? So
I'm sure he's here right now.
Patrick Donahue said the fire was so hot yesterday, I overheard one nervous dream teamer was cooking off in his recent pool edition that was severely discounted. Who just got a new pool, guys? Which one of you? Which one of you? You watching it from the pool now?
Was it in ground or above ground?
These guys are ballers, bro. They ain't got no above ground pool.
Those 5'11" pants must be doing well, huh?
Yeah. These guys ain't getting no. So here we go. Is this the same one that I was reading? Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, no. You know what? I was reading a different article. Okay.
They started to look like each other.
It sounded like it was the same. So, all right. A Brooklyn bar owner has alleged the twin brother of ousted police commissioner tried to extort him to sought help getting NYPD off his back last summer, according to a report. Shamel Kelly told NBC that he was introduced to the top cop's brother, James Caban, by a city hall staffer. We already told you who that city hall staffer is and who he worked for, the office of the mayor, nightlife of the mayor. Kelly reportedly said that Kaban told him he'd take care of his problems with the police department if he paid him $2,500. He said he will mediate my issues, Kelly told the local station of the alleged conversation. He said he could bring the NYPD to me and resolve our issues, is what he said he could do. but the struggling business owner refused, and he claimed a constant police presence at his Coney Island bar only got worse, to the point he eventually shuttered the establishment. After he said I'd pay him for it, I felt like he was trying to extort me, and I said, nah, I'm good. I'll just deal with it. Now I'm going to deal with it. And it got worse, Kelly said. Kelly's business, Juice and More Bar, a juicy bar by day and bar lounge by night, had the required permits and liquor license, but was facing a slew of noise complaints in the summer of 23. He was introduced to a staffer from the mayor's office of entertainment and nightlife, Ray Martin, who he helped sort out the near constant police presence at his bar that he said was hurting his business. Instead, Martin allegedly asked for a fixer as James Caban. He went on to how he thinks I should just close the bar, and if I don't close the bar, there's only one way to get the police to stop doing what they're doing. He said to speak to one of his friends, which was James Caban's guy, Kelly told NBC. James Caban, a former NYPD cop himself, the twin brother of Ed Kaban, who resigned his gig as the NYC police commissioner on Thursday. The twins are being eyed in a sweeping federal corruption probe that extends to the major aides of Mayor Eric Adams and NYPD top brass. Neither has been accused of wrongdoing. I'd just like to add, yet. Phone records reviewed by the news station show that Kelly spoke to James Caban over the phone and text in August 23. One of those phone calls, James Caban allegedly asked Kelly for $2,500 payment. The bar owner said he was shocked. I assume you'll be okay. Let's figure out what the problem is. I'm not expecting, oh, you got to pay me. Nah, that doesn't fall with me, Kelly told NBC. I felt like it was an ultimatum. It's like, you're either going to get with us, get with this, or you're going to get shut down, he added. Kelly eventually closed his bar in February, he said. He said he was upset and disappointed by what happened, and he believes he's not the only business owner in the city to deal with. I don't think it's just me, Kelly said. I think that is probably a thing that is going on in New York, to be honest. City Hall fired Martin soon after learning of the allegations against him in NBC. We appreciate WNBC for this information to our attention, and bring it to our attention yesterday afternoon. After receiving this inquiry, we immediately began an internal review and found that Mr. Martin violated the terms of his employment, Deputy Mayor of Communications Fabian Levy said in the statement Thursday. Mr. Martin was terminated for cause. We expect all city employees to act ethically and in public interest. Because WNBC just reported that both the DOJ and the DOI are investigating this matter, we are unable to comment further out of the sensitivities of their investigations. Attorneys from James Caban said he was innocent. Mr. Caban unequivocally denies any wrongdoing in his work as a consulting, and acting as a liaison between the department and a private company is perfectly legal, especially given his previous career as an NYPD police officer. His attorneys, Sean Hecker and Dave Patton, said in a statement, our client has fully cooperated with law enforcement, and once their investigation is complete, it will be clear that these claims are unfounded and lack merit. Meanwhile, Kelly has since been interviewed by federal agents and DOI investigators amid the corruption probe. I don't know why DOI is now waking up, right? They got these allegations too. I don't know why they're just, oh, we just found out about this. No, you didn't. You knew about this last year when we filed the complaint.
Well, it's not in this article. And the video that you played, there's different versions of the news video you had. Some are a little longer than others. But there's a point. I'm not sure if it came up in this one or another video I saw. But apparently, Kelly, the bar owner, was posting information about what was going on social media as far back as February. John, you and I spoke about that yesterday. As far back as February. So where is Internal Affairs? Where's Internal Affairs, their investigation unit that scrubbed social media? That this guy's posting stuff about this back in February. And there's no investigation, there's no indication, and there's no one to allege that's an issue that James Caban has a security detail, why there's a cloud of judgment and a shroud of potential corruption going on. Even just the claim alone is the appearance of impropriety, and everything needs to be done, a full investigation, so that we can exonerate everyone and vet the information so that the police department can actually protect themselves. And so can the mayor if there's no legit corruption occurring So the fact that they didn't conduct an investigation just highlights that DOI is corrupted. The DOI has to have oversight from another entity. The fact that the mayor has the oversight of the DOI is an indication of why the DOI has been asleep at the wheel the entire time. This whole operation is infected. That's why, John, this could potentially be a corruption scandal that stems throughout the entire state. Everyone could be involved, from the state liquor authority to Tish James to the mayor Eric Adams to the aides to DOI. I mean, this is crazy. We do not know how this is going to unravel. That's why the phones are going to be key to closing out this investigation, get all the intricate details of what is actually going on to tie this together. That's a huge red flag. The fact that he was terminated one day, we don't want to do an investigation to figure out the details of what's going on. What else is he involved in that's unethical? This is crazy, John. I can't believe that in 2024 that we're sitting here and actually discussing this.
Well, I think, I think the big thing is that for me is like Fabian, we nicknamed you the minister of propaganda, and the reason is that because you truly are acting as a propaganda arm for this administration, and it's disgusting. And I get it's an open investigation, but here's the bottom line. Should have been labeled out for New York City residents and for the entire world watching this debacle exactly what rules and regulations Mr. Martin violated that you terminated him for. And it wasn't, and that was done on purpose, and it shouldn't have been. So absolutely, Eric, and the reason they're doing that is they don't want people to know. They don't want people to know what was taking place at the office of the nightlife of the mayor, right? So that's that. Like, that's to me. But I agree. This corruption scandal, like we said yesterday, how could he fix the other complaints? How can the New York City Police Department fix other numerous different complaints? They can't. They can't. I don't know if you guys follow Dave Savella, but if you don't, I think I recommend that you do on X. Dave Savella. I think he calls himself Scutch. Scutch is a term, people used to call, like, he's a pain in the ass. He's a Scutch, like, don't be a Scutch, like that's what it is. So, but yeah, he's Scooch on Twitter or at Dave Savella. And if you go follow him, he's showing all the people who haven't said a word. And it's, to me, them not saying anything. Tish James not saying anything. City Council, Justin Brannon, Jennifer Maj Kumar, State Assembly woman. Who's the other one that's running for? Borough President, Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine. All three people that are running for controller of New York City, who are involved in handling the checks and balances in New York City. Not one of them said a word. Nobody said a word. Brad Landa hasn't said a word. Nobody said a word about this. And then it's like, well, how'd they get to those other state and city agencies? I don't know. And all the politicians are running. So the article I was reading prior, I think we should get into, and it's, here's who could replace Ed Kaban as the next permanent police commissioner after top cop's resignation. So I'm just gonna say right now, I know I like skimmed the article last night. I didn't read it, but I skimmed it, and I just saw Marjorie Daughtry. I'm saying it again. The bums got to go. Throw the bums out. They were either too stupid to see the scam, or they were in on it. And I don't think they're that stupid. I think they're dumb. I think they're inept. I think they're incompetent. But I don't think they're that stupid. I don't think they're that stupid when they see this the police commissioner's twin brother getting escorted around and handling complaints at bars and calling their COs and calling them to take care of things. I don't think you're that stupid. You know that's not right. And if you don't know that's right, you have no business being a cop. So before I get in the article, what do you think about that, Eric?
Well, that's what I want to tell you, John, right? One thing I learned in life, and I know you're probably thinking the same thing, and our friends and listeners right now, I wonder if you're thinking the same thing also. So one thing I learned in life is this. Some of the stupidest people I've ever met were the smartest people when it came to money. I don't care how stupid you are, but when it comes to money, everyone's eyes are open and everyone is aware and everyone has their own form of intelligence when it comes to money. And you know what I'm talking about, John. You can meet the stupidest people that just have zero intelligence. But if you owe them $50, they won't forget. They remember you owe them $50. Some people have bad memories, but not when it comes to money. Some people are not intelligent, but not when it comes to money. I mean, I've seen the stupidest people. Have we? Most of us have, wait on line at a grocery store, and sometimes you're online in these supermarkets, and the line is like taking forever. And you ever get that person who's just like a complete bumbling idiot, and they're paying the cashier, but they know how much change they're supposed to get. And if they don't get the right change, they figure it out right there. Like, you're like, man, that person's a complete idiot, but they managed to figure out how much change. So again, I'm going to say that even though I believe that a majority of the administration, the upper echelon of the New York City Police Department right now are bumbling idiots and they're useful idiots. When it comes to money, they know what's going on. John, think about some of the stupidest cops you've ever met, right? And I hate to say it, a majority of cops are, they're intelligible, but there's some stupid cops. But they know their pension statement. They can't tell you much, but they know their pension statement. They know how much money to make. They know how to ask questions when it comes to ITHP, increased take-home pay, the waiver. They know about 50% additional. That they know about. You know what I'm saying? So, and Franco put, thanks for reminding me, Eric. My brother owes me $500. Say, that's hysterical. But you know what I'm saying, John? It's true. When it comes to money, everyone's intelligent. Everyone knows. That's my point.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And for people that tout themselves as street cops and that they come from the street and they're street guys, you didn't see the scam? You're from the street? Now, I don't think Kaz Daughtry's from the street. I think Kaz Daughtry is from the Nintendo generation. He was sitting in his room playing, but I think he wants to be from the street. I think he tries to portray himself as from the street. And then again, he was protected his entire career. He never really had to stand on his own 2 feet. So I don't care about the work he did out there because it wasn't the same work that he wasn't in the same track and he didn't deal with the same things that everybody else dealt with. So it's not, to me, he's a rookie in my eyes. John Shell went through those processes. I think even Tanya Kinsella a little bit. I think even Tariq Shepard didn't. To tend the hands Tariq Shepard. What do we call him? Action Tariq? Action hero Tariq? 22 arrests?
Oh, Action Jackson Tariq.
Action Jackson Tariq. Yeah. I don't think he went through those processes.
No, you called Tariq Hill Tariq Shepard.
Yeah, I did. Sorry. I didn't mean that, Cheetah.
By the way, that cost up was the best thing that ever happened to Miami Dolphins. I see they were all over TV yesterday. Those jerseys must be flying right now.
Yeah, well, I had him in on DraftKings and he did shit for me. So screw you, Tariq. But
I think he got arrested.
But yeah, no, I like, you didn't see it. You guys are from the street. You guys are street cops and you didn't see it. Now we don't know anything. Now we're not street cops. They weren't so smart. Now John Shell, Kaz Daughtry, Tanya Kinsella, Tariq Shepard. Now they're not so smart. They're not street cops no more. They're not street guys no more. Now nobody knows what's going on. Nobody's from the hood no more. Nobody saw the scam. How could you believe that? So I just wanted to nail that home before we read this article. Who could replace Edward Kaban as the next permanent NYPD commissioner? It should not be one person on this list. So
I'd rather have the store clerk at 7-Eleven, honestly.
100%. I'd take anybody. I'd take anybody. So the appointment of I did this already, right? And we said that we don't believe that Eric Adams appointed him, right? They said the appointment of Tom Donnellan. We know he appointed him, but we think he was more like, you're gonna appoint him. Rumored candidates for the next police commissioner include some of the NYPD's most prominent names, in addition to other high-profile officials. Right? Here we go. Oh, I didn't even see this article from the Post. This was the thing. Dead Kaban walking.
Yo, that's a good title. Dead Kaban walking. Oh, my God.
I didn't even see that.
You know what, though? Honestly, I got it. This is the part. Listen, I beat up the fraternal organizations all the time, but I will side with them right now. It's messed up that that he's on an island by himself right now. You know what, brother? I tell you, I don't know if you do karaoke, Kaz Daughtry does, but this is the time to sing. There is no way in hell, if anyone believes, if this allegation is true, that Kaban is a one-man show, you're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. There is no way. Ed Mullins wasn't a one-man show, and this sure as hell is not a one-man show. And this is the part, this part helps him. I think he's a bumbling idiot. I hear he's a nice guy, but he's a bumbling idiot. There's no way he can pull this off by himself. Thank God. He better tell people, listen, I'm not a smart guy. I can't do this by myself.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
No, I agree. So listen, everybody, we got about 888 people in here. If you guys could just do us a favor. If you like what you hear, just like, subscribe. If you're on social media, just do us a favor and like and hit repost and follow myself, Eric Dim, and the Finest Cast, please. Appreciate you guys. So we're talking about New York City bar owner who alleges a City Hall and NYPD shakedown, an extortion racket. And right now we're talking about who could replace the interim police commissioner. This is an article from the New York Post. Let's read what the Post got to say. I totally think they missed the mark on this article, but let's see what they got to say, who the potentials are. Jeffrey Madry. Chief of Department Jeffrey Madry is the NYPD's top uniform officer and a likely familiar face for many New Yorkers. He often briefs the public on high-profile crimes and recently obtained his law degree while studying at work and getting paid $260,000 and not partaking in his job. But that's a different story. But he is no stranger to controversy. An abuse of authority case against him for allegedly interfering with the arrest of an ex-cop was recently tossed. What do you think about Jeffrey Madry?
Get that bum out. I've been saying it way before these allegations. The stem of impropriety was actually so much highlighted. Get that bum out. Absolutely. First of all, he should be happy. The fact that he's still there is greedy. You've been studying for over a year while you're on job time and got your law degree. Absolutely ridiculous. If he was home studying, he would not be a lawyer right now. This is absolutely ridiculous. Get this bum out. He's infected. He's caused the infection of this job by elevating Kaz Daughtry. Get him out today. Don't let the door hit him in the ass on the way out.
Throw the bum out. I second that. Throw that bum out. He didn't do shit. He's a nice guy, and that's all he is. Nice guys finish last. He allowed the dream team to fester. He allowed Kaz Daughtry to destroy the NYPD. He allowed a corruption extortion racket under his watch. And Jeffrey Madry is a street guy with street experience. Throw that bum out. You were either too dumb to see the scam, or you were in on it. Throw the bum out. Bye. Nobody.
You know what, John? Let's play a fun little game for our friends and listeners on the podcast. You know, if you want to play with us, every time we mention someone that could potentially be the crown, the chief of department, let us know if you think bum or they should stay. Because this first one here, I say bum. Anybody want to weigh in? We appreciate it. Bum.
All right, you got to monitor those though. I can't see those. I'm back.
Yeah, but I'm gonna keep track of it right now.
Yeah, I'm back about an hour, I think, already.
There'll be about 100 bums here.
Yeah.
Mr.
I'm
D
back
says
about
bum.
an hour on these comments. So, all right. So you're a bum. Later, Chief. Kaz Daughtry, or as we like to call him, Kaz Jong-un, or the Kaz Man. So, Deputy Commissioner for Operations, Kaz Daughtry, the man behind the controller. The man behind the controller of the department's drone program and other tech initiatives recently garnered attention for his role in crackdowns on anti-Israeli protesters. Insiders have long told the Post that Daughtry is integral to police operations, with sources saying in 2023 that he's literally running the NYPD. What do you got on Kaz Daughtry, Eric?
I got what all our friends and listeners got here. There's like 10 of them already. I'm going with bum. EC, bum. Mr. D, bum squared. Papa Mike Live, bum. EC, Kaz, bum. Matthew O'Brien, bum. Yeah, I'm with you, brother. Bum.
Throw that bum out. The dude, take him, have him take his PlayStation 5 controller, his little drones that have been failing miserably. Oh, by the way, Eric, I heard that the DFR program, for those of you that don't know, which is the drone as a first responder, which is another step in the defund the police movement, right? Because those guys don't need pensions. Those guys don't need health benefits. They don't need meals. They don't need to sleep. Actually, they need a lot more help than a regular officer. They don't do anything near. So the autonomous drones supposedly aren't autonomous at all. They need a man behind the controller, and they were supposed to self-dock themselves back on the dock of the precinct roofs, and they can't even do that. Also, it's been reported, and we don't know, but we keep asking, and Daughtry hasn't responded, and we asked his DCPI as well as the other DCPI, Viral News New York City. We asked them, did a drone crash onto a civilian's car? And we're still awaiting that answer. So Tariq, if you could let us know, Kaz, Viral News, did a drone fall out of the sky and crash land onto a civilian's car? So I'm saying right now, throw that bum out. See you later, Daughtry.
Before we throw this bum out, I just want to say this. I'm curious because I want to look into it, unless any of our friends or listeners know. Maybe, John, maybe you know. Because I'm pretty apt when it comes to the pension. I did a lot of homework with that. It was like one of my passions. But how does this work? If you go from detective to commissioner to chief of department, like how does that work with the pension system? I'm really curious how that works. I have to be honest, I don't know. I want to look into it. Do you know? There's any of our friends or listeners? If you know, please weigh in. I'm curious. I like to mention the podcast.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I have no idea. Like, how is he civilian? Is he uniform to civilian back to uniform? Like, how does that work?
I told you, he's a transgender. He has his own thing. By all means, I think that he's getting paid as a uniform member. I said that 1,000 times. No one's confirmed it.
I agree.
I think he might even be eligible for overtime. I'm telling you.
I think he was getting overtime yesterday watching the podcast.
I said it before. I'll say it again. He never took a test. He's gonna retire with the largest pension in the shortest amount of time.
John, I think he was getting overtime yesterday watching and trolling the podcast.
He probably was. Thanks for staying with us for 7 hours yesterday. We appreciate you. Just make sure you like, subscribe, check the notification bell.
Bum, if anybody knows, anybody has any insight about the pension system, like how does this work? I'm curious because to me that's strange. That just shows that to me it just says he was uniformed the entire time, and we've said it in the podcast.
Wait, let's hear what Kaz Daughtry has to say about the podcast.
There's a handful of retired officers that don't live in the state that have a lot to say about the dream team, as I like to call it. All of a sudden, they retire and have a master plan on how to fight crime, but nothing to contribute when they were here. They want to come back and be part of the dream team. What can I say?
So they went from being the dream team to the Titanic. They should have been calling themselves the Titanic instead of the dream team, but then they recently switched and now they call themselves the Gotham Brothers.
Self-proclaimed.
What do you think they should be called, Eric? Should they be called the Titanic, the dream team, the Gotham Brothers? What do you think?
Oh, they should be the Blues Brothers. These two bumbling idiots. My God. They love self-proclaimed names. They're bums. Two bums. That's it.
Yeah. ECX, did they implement metal detectors inside the transit system? They put in one metal detector in one train station. This is called the Dog and Pony Show, New York City Police Department. This kid, and he doesn't even know. He hates my guts for absolutely no reason because he can't take any criticism or joke. And he can't even understand that, like, the only reason they use that system is because someone asked me a few years ago, do you know anything that could detect a gun? I was like, yeah, why are you going to reinvent the wheel? Just look where in sports arenas and look what they're using there. So I Googled what Madison Square Garden was using, and I gave them that thing. And that's like this revolutionary technology. It's been around since Ray Kelly was the police commissioner over 12 years ago. And we played you guys a video for it a while back, over 12 years ago. And you know, it's pretty wild. So the technology is like, this kid hasn't found one piece of technology other than his cool PlayStation controller so he could play video games in his office, and then made a whole video and tried to replace it as a no. This was for the drones, even though they use Xbox 360 controllers. All right, let's see who's next in this ragtag mob of people who need to get thrown out. All right, Tanya Kinsella. Tanya Cancilla is a double trailblazer as both the department's first female deputy commissioner and first Black woman to hold the post. Kinsella has long-standing ties to the current administration, with her mother being longtime friends with Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Phil Banks. Oh, is that how you moved up the fastest ever? I see. What do you think, Eric?
Oh, easy enough. Scott was the first one. I'm going to give credit to our comments here. Bum. Someone put sexy bum. I could care less. Bum. Get her out. She's in bed with them. She's at the top. There's no way that she doesn't know what's going on. And if she doesn't, she is insanely dumb. She is close to the hand of the king. I don't think this is a case like Sewell where she's a woman and they completely boxed her out. I don't see that here. Bum.
Totally throw that bum out. She's got no business leading anything. She is the Kamala Harris of the NYPD. Obviously we found out her qualification. Her mother's friends with Philip Banks. That's it. I mean, Eric worked with her. I know a lot of people that worked with her as a cop, as a sergeant, as lieutenant. No one has anything. Nice girl, cool girl. That's it. As far as cop, no. No business leading the largest municipal police department in the world. So.
Get her out. I hear that all the time on this job. We talk about the nice guy syndrome or nice girl syndrome. I can care less. She ain't cut the mustard. I worked as a cop. She was nice. I will say that.
But listen,
I've heard. What's that?
There's so many people in the NYPD.
Yeah.
Great people. I'll hang out with them. I'll have a barbecue with them. We'll go out to a bar. I wouldn't want to sit in a radio call with them if you paid me double.
You know what? Sherry Albo put family ties. You're right. Family ties. They're all family. They're all in on it together. Come on. Chief, don't tell me right now that Chief Kemper left. Just happened to be this great opportunity that he decided to go to 233 Broadway now. What a coincidence. Bum, get her out. She can't hit the door fast enough. I'm disgusted by looking at these people. I'm tired of looking at their pictures. Useless.
Yeah, Amazing Ant says they all need to go. Pick the most qualified white shield to be PC. Kaz moved up in a blink. Why not an actual cop? Like it. All right, let's go. Who's the next in this mess? This is honestly stomach turning. These are the people that we're talking about here.
Before you read this,
oh my God!
Before you read this, Ron Layson says, which is hysterical. You're right, brother. He says, "What happened to Viral News? He had a lot to say until the first hammer fell. He has been cut off."
Viral News is holding his butthole right now, and he is in the corner crying, trying to restore his credibility when he was slandering us, calling us liars. We're putting out misinformation. He's not stepping down. This is all going to blow over. The Adams administration's great. Eric Adams didn't look like he was doing too good yesterday. He didn't look like he was too happy about it yesterday. Oh, man, I think we missed a couple of people here, and I'm sorry. Hassan donated $19.99 to the podcast. We appreciate. Keep going. We need 24/7 coverage, drone coverage after hours. Hassan, ain't happening, brother. We're gonna all enjoy our nice early Friday blow, and we're gonna be out of here early. No 28s needed. Don't worry about it. This one's gonna be on us. We're gonna be like the civilians today, guys. Early blow. So
there's a lot of bums. This could take a long time. Hassan's right. We might need 24/7 coverage.
Sam, appreciate you always being here. If something breaks, let us know. We'll jump on if anything else comes on. And we got Nandez donates $1.99. He calls them. I like it a lot. The scheme team, baby. So the dream team should have been, I say they should have been named the Titanic. They should have named themselves because they're sinking the NYPD. Or they have already sunk it. But Nandez, I like it. The scheme team.
You know what? You know what they could be called? Twins.
I'm still going, dude. I'm writing my book, and I'm gonna call it Crumbs. And the first line of my book is gonna open up like this. You ready? You ready for this, Eric? I want you to play personal.
I gotta hear this.
The first opening line is gonna be: policing is the most tangible form of government.
Yeah.
That's Eric's line. I'm only kidding. Just making fun of him. All right, let's go to this winner. Let's
Hassan,
see.
thank you, brother.
Jessica Tisch, billionaire heiress. Sanitation Commissioner Jessica Tisch
Rich bum.
was reportedly considered for police commissioner job that ultimately went to Kaban. She served nearly a decade as the NYPD's Deputy Commissioner of Information Technology. For you older guys, that is the new MISD unit. They now call it the Information Technology Bureau, during which she put in place a digital daily log app for cops to replace their old tedious hand forms. But she also made headlines with the rollout of her $160 million cell phone plan. Eric, do you remember the plan before you give us a thumbs up or a thumb down on Tish? Could you just inform anybody about that plan? Do you remember?
Oh my God. First of all, we went through so many different phones with this job. I remember the first phone we got. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Remember what it was called? But I remember.
I don't remember.
So I never forget the first phone they gave me. I was actually an anti-crime sergeant in Lower East Side. And of course, it was under Tish. And this thing, I could never get service on it. So we'd have like somebody stopped. We're thinking we're getting a firearm, but we're doing intrusive police work. I got someone stopped, and I'm walking around with a stupid phone. I can't get any service. So so they told us that they wanted us to run it. Of course, the job has to put a number on everything. We had to run it at least 20 times a month. So I'm like, this thing sucks. So I threw it in my locker. So sure enough, what's his name? Remember the chief, man? He had like funny hair. It was like combed over. What the hell was his name? I'm trying to remember his name. Do you know what I'm talking about? He had like this bad wig. It was like combed over. Come on, give me some names now.
I don't know.
No, anyway, he was pissed. He was pissed off that I never used it. I'm like, this thing's terrible. So he gave me a CD. He gave me a CD, a command discipline, because I never used this phone. I'm like, this thing doesn't even work. This is ridiculous. So we laughed about it, of course. But again, they went through so many phones. It was that, and then after that, it was another phone, and then finally we got to where we're at now. And the phone is finally a decent phone, the iPhone that they had. But it took years. It was absolutely the most ridiculous thing. But this was the ideology. These phones that I couldn't even get service were supposed to get us all this information. If anything, it was slowing us down. It was just ridiculous. So I'm going to call right here, Rich Bum.
Yeah, 100%. I don't even know why her name's even in the mix. We'll get into that. Sorry. We'll definitely get into that. So the funny thing about those phones is she spends $160 million on the phones. And the thing is, they can't be updated. So we had to get a whole entirely different plan and spend hundreds of millions of dollars. Jessica Tisch is a billionaire heiress. She's selling a condo in Manhattan. I don't know if she sold it, but she was selling it, I believe, for like $25 million. It could have been a little bit less or a little bit more. But the one thing I do remember is that the maintenance fee on her condo was $12,000 a month. So that's way more than any cop ever makes. I have no idea why she ever worked in the New York City Police Department. I believe her father has a high-ranking position or some type of, or sits on the board of the New York City Police Foundation. And I think that specifically is the only reason she has employment in New York City whatsoever. By far, I mean, the money's menial to her. She doesn't need it. It's rumored, and I know a few people that worked for her, and they said they took her, they were driving her one day, and they walked into a store, and she asked the person, "Oh, is this how you people shop and buy food?" I mean, because like, obviously she's a billionaire heiress. So this person's I don't know why she's in charge of sanitation. I don't know why she ever had a job in the New York City Police Department. I don't know why she's even being considered or her name's being thrown around. So throw that bum out of here. Nobody wants her. Get out of here. Give us somebody good instead of some political hack. This is a joke.
I say Rich Bum. Sergeant Blue 1. Sergeant Blue 11, actually. He's had some good comments. I don't know if he's got some inside information, but I don't know what this is about. It says, she is an excellent dancer. Hey, Sergeant Blue, if you can let us know what that's about. I have no idea what that's about. Maybe she was doing karaoke with Kaz Daughtry. So Rich
Yeah.
bum out. I can't believe she's even in the. I can't believe she's even in the conversation. This is ridiculous.
This is like the this is like the worst. Like these are the literally the dumbest people in New York City right now. The dumbest, most corrupted people in New York City. What does Chris Arnold say? Kaz looks like he's auditioning for Love Boat bartender. The Gothine brothers.
The Gothine brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta come up with a name for this team.
The scheme team, baby. That's it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good one. So, all right, let's see who else is in this ragtag mob. Juanita Holmes. Ooh, criminal association, Juanita Holmes. Probation commissioner, Juanita Holmes, who brought Cardi B to the police commissioner, to the NYPD to foster a learning environment for women. And she had little girls, and Cardi B come in, nice role model for young girls into the NYPD. And she was removed basically the next day and given a promotion to probation commissioner. She's a perennial rumored NYPD commissioner contender. She previously served as chief of patrol, but left in 23 after butting heads with past top cop Keechant Sewell, as well as with Marjorie. Adams sought to keep Holmes, who he called brilliant, with his administration. What do you think?
Are you kidding me? I can't believe that she's even in the conversation. Again, like I said, I can't believe Tish is in the conversation. Sutton Blue 11 says Tish was a former topless dancer. I had no idea about that. I mean, that's not illegal, but I had no idea. That's pretty funny. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I can't. First of all, I'd rather have Tish than this one here. I guess she would be good for recruitment. She's a total bum. She would be good for recruitment. You don't have to do a run. You don't have to do anything. She would lower the standard so bad you just have to walk. Your academy physical fitness test will be walk a mile. Absolutely ridiculous. First of all, she's a complete moron. Nice lady. Again, the nice guy syndrome of the New York City Police Department. Nice lady. She likes to work out. I'll give her that. She runs. She stays in shape. But she's a complete idiot, moron. I mean, your example for I have girls, I have daughters. Are you telling me that your example, your model for girls is Cardi B? I don't want Cardi B as a model for my daughters. Get out of here, bum. Throw her out. I can't even believe she's in the conversation. I just want to know, is this article real? Is this really who are contenders, or are they being sarcastic and this is a joke? Because it's starting to seem like this is sarcastic.
I mean, the thing is, this is who's around the Adams administration. This is who's around him. This is who he insulates himself with. Show me who your friends are. I'll show you who you are. Right? So I think the New York Post is showing us who Eric Adams is. Yeah. So Juanita Holmes, bump, get her out of here. You're out of here. You had your time. Criminal association with people. You're bringing Cardi B in front of little girls. Absolutely. I think it has zero effect. Oh, wasn't she also the chief of training and said she was the chief of training. And when she was the chief of training, what'd she say?
That's what I was
don't
talking
need
about.
to be able to run a mile and a half. What?
That's what I was talking about. She'd be great for recruitment. You don't even have to run. You just walk. Come on in. How much you weigh? You're 100 pounds overweight? Perfect. Outstanding. We have a triple X uniform for you. Are you kidding me with this bum? Get out. And she's the last person should be saying that, because from what I know, she stays in shape. She runs herself. I'll give her that credit. She's a runner, and that's the only credit I'll give to Tiny Kinsella. I know she's part of the running club too. They want to stay in shape, which is great.
She looks good by age, 100%.
She looks fantastic for her age.
Yeah.
But she's a complete idiot. Like I said, you want to bring Cardi B around girls? Get out of here. You're not bringing Cardi B around my daughters. And I know you feel the same way, John. And she wants to lower the standards. And her ideology was that you're never going to run a mile and a half. So completely, I wish we would have a conversation with her. I would love to test her logic. Why do you believe that you do not have to run a mile and a half? Are you kidding me? The amount of hypervigilance that you go through as a police officer, and the amount of pounding that your heart has to take, you need that mile and a half to know that your heart can be prepared for that. Get out of here. Well, I don't even know why we even have a conversation with her. Bum. Goodbye. I'm sure everybody else thinks she's a bum too.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Arnold said viral news is case and petty cabs. Yeah, you are right, my friend. And he's retweeting Kaz Daughtry. That's what he said. Let's try to get his credit. All right, let's see who it is. An outsider. Sources told the Post that Adams can pick an outsider with strong New York City ties, but without any direct NYPD connections. But the likelihood of an outsider pick was unclear after Adams went with Donlin. Adams could pick someone who isn't on insider's radar, a maneuver he pulled off in 2022 when he chose Sewell, a veteran Long Island cop, as commissioner. So I don't think Eric Adams choosing anybody. And anybody that and anyone that he does choose is going to be someone of low integrity, because that bum needs to get thrown out of here too. Throw him out of here. He's a bum. Look what's happening under his watch, because the same holds true for him. If I'm saying John Shell's a bum because he should have known what happened, if I'm saying he's either too dumb or he was in on it, if I'm saying Kaz Daughtry was either too dumb or he's in on it, if I'm saying that Tanya Kinsella was either too dumb or she's in on it, if we're saying all these people are too dumb and they're in on it, why doesn't the same hold true for Eric Adams?
Absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, I'm confused also. How does this work? Because the chief of department is a uniform rank. So they can actually just implant someone as a uniform rank. I'm curious how that works. I didn't even know you could do that. I get it for deputy commissioner, civilian ranks, but that's a uniform rank. I guess, I don't know. I don't know how that works. But again, every one of these potential contenders, they're not contenders. These are losers. They're bums. They should not be in the conversation. Again, I hope that this article is a parody and is a joke, because this is ridiculous. I can't believe that they're even in the conversation.
The whole thing is like it really, but the whole thing's a joke. But so is Eric Adams and his entire administration. You know, so it's like this is who he surrounds himself with. You know, and no one of integrity, nobody of prominence. I mean, it's weird why they leave Tariq Shepard out of that article. Like, why is he not in the running? Why is he not?
I'm surprised they didn't put Terence Monahan as one of the contenders. You should have put a picture of him on his knee. I mean, and you know what, Terence Monahan, I had to get the Post 7 hours for that riot that we had, and you left the job and you didn't stand up for me. I want my 7 hours back, by the way, because that was exhausting. That was ridiculous.
So before we go further, this is an image that's been floating around the department. I heard that some of the fraternals are making a huge stink about this, trying to make it racist. This thing's going around the department. People throwing Ed Kaban. And listen, I get it, man. I get everyone that's like, why is it just Kaban? I agree with you. Clear that wall. Throw the bums out. Take all their pitches and throw it in the garbage. I agree with you guys. I'm saying it right now, and I think, you know, what you're going to see is a huge rift in the Adams administration right now. And I don't think anything's far behind on this administration. I don't think Ed Kaban's photo in the garbage pail is going to be lonely for long. Just put it that way. I don't think so. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think there's going to be other photos in that garbage can?
Well, honestly, I actually support this picture. I tell you why. Absolutely. Because if you give the police department the appearance of impropriety and the police commissioner, you are a bum. Your picture belongs in the garbage. But when it comes to this particular case, there's absolutely no underlying issue of racism. Get out of here with that bullshit. That's absolutely not true. But that garbage can should stay, and we should see a stack of pictures in there, because there's other bums to go with it. He should not be going down with this shit by himself. Absolutely. That part I agree. There's no way he facilitated this by himself. So someone put in here, should LePetri be the PC? What are your thoughts on that? I know you always spoke highly of LePetri. I'm curious what your thoughts on that.
So I think that Mike LePetri is a really smart guy. I think that he's a hardworking guy. But unfortunately, he works for Eric Adams' administration. He works on the Get Stuff Done team. He hasn't said a word about anything. He's very observant. And he's another one. You didn't know? You didn't know, Mike? You're going to tell me you didn't know? That was a street cop, bro. That was a dude that had a great eye. He's a high performer. I'm going to tell you right now, I think he might be more guilty than all of them, because he knows better than everybody.
I'm going to tell you right now, brother. I used to go to Comstat every 4 to 6 weeks working the South Bronx. And LePetri was one of the most intelligent people that we had on the job. It was super impressive at Comstat. But guess what? You know what I'm going to say today? Bum! Get that bum out, coward. Because this entire time that Kaz Daughtry and John Shell have been at the tip of the spear, you haven't said a word, coward. Get that bum out. You can take all that intelligence, shove it up your ass because useless. I mean, honestly, disappointment. Get him out.
The Petrie's integrity is above reproach. I totally disagree with you. We're all very well aware of what happened in his office with the worker in his office, a female, and then her husband. Everybody's very aware of that. So, I mean, you know, whatever. You could like him as a person. I think he's one of the most intelligent people in the police department. I think he's one of the most highest performing people in the police department. I think he's one of the most competent people in the police department, which is why he should be held to a high standard. And this is not integrity. I'm sorry. This is not integrity. This is not integrity. This is not integrity. Those things are not integrity. Hear no evil, see no evil. So his integrity is definitely is questionable. And anyone surrounding themselves in this administration.
You know what, John? I just want to say, you know how we say the memes make themselves? I can already see the next meme. We need a giant garbage can, stack of all the people that were in this post, put their pictures in the garbage because that's where they belong.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Throw those bums out. Throw those bums out. Throw them out. That we need that garbage can needs to be filled up. I agree with you. I don't feel bad that Caban's pictures in there, but that's the guy that's singing. That's the guy that's going to sing, him and his brother. You just left them out on an island by themselves, Eric Adams. Not a smart move, my friend. Not a smart move if you're in on it. Not a smart move for you guys in the NYPD. You know, not a smart move. Because I'll tell you right now, he feels by himself. He got forced out of his career. His name's being run through the mud, and you're all sitting around trying to take his job. Not a smart move, peoples. Not a smart move.
And you know what, John? At least you had a picture because, John, when you had to leave the job, where's your picture? When I had to leave the job, where's my picture?
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, whatever. I could care less. Could care less about his picture. But, yeah, you could throw Michael Petrie's in there, too. Throw that bum out, too. He wasn't named in it. Throw a bum out. Which one? All right. So since we're speaking about families and all this, I think we need to get into this article by the city. This is a pretty good article. Before I do that, that's not what I want. But before I do that, we got 1,090 people in here. If you people could just do us a favor, if you could like, if you subscribe, if you could share out the space. We're talking about the extortion protection racket that's being evolved, that's being investigated and alleged, not only now from the New York City Police Department, the upper echelon of the New York City Police Department, the police commissioner, his brother, but now also the mayor's office of nightlife. So,
hey, Tabitha Foster, which I think is great. I know you invited her earlier. She says, thank you. Maybe one day I join you guys. Absolutely. We'd love to have you on here. You know, anyone is welcome on this podcast to have a conversation. So, Tabitha, when you're ready, www.thefinestUnfiltered.com. Come on the show. Do a live with us. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, I think you could email us through YouTube too, or just go to one of our exes and DM us or whatever. So, Adams Family Values, a guide to the kin and friends New York City's mayor relies on. So let's see. You know, this is a pretty good photo here, right? You lay down with dogs, you get fleas. Show me who your friends are, and I'll show you who you are. Right? So here we go. For Mayor Eric Adams, it's all in the family or in a tight-knit group of chosen family, friends that dates back decades. The FBI's highly unusual raids on the homes of many of those in Adams' inner circle highlight just how many family ties exist at the upper reaches of city government, particularly with NYPD links. Caught up in the federal probe, the three Banks family brothers, David, the school's chancellor, Philip, deputy mayor public safety, and Terence, whose father was one of Adams' lieutenants when he served as an NYPD captain. Then there's the Kaban family, including Commissioner Edward Kaban, who resigned Thursday, and his identical twin brother, James. Their father goes way back with Adams, when in the 90s, they both ran allied fraternal groups for Hispanic and Black NYPD officers. Here's what to know about the familial circles around New York City mayor and how some relate to the ongoing federal investigations. The Banks brothers. Last week, the FBI searched the homes and seized the electronic devices from three brothers: School Chancellor David Banks, Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Phil Banks III, and Government Relations Consultant Terence Banks. The family goes way back with the mayor. Their father, Philip Jr., was one of Adams' NYPD lieutenants when he served as a captain before his retirement in 2006. On Monday, during his weekly press briefing, the mayor described the elder Banks as a mentor, noting that he's known the Banks family for years. Philip and David were two of Adams' first mayoral appointments and sit at the highest levels of this administration. The mayor's ties to Philip were so strong that Adams bypassed the fact that Banks had left the top levels of the NYPD after being named as an unindicted co-conspirator in a cop bribery case. The feds allege Banks got 20,000 gifts from a corrupt businessman seeking favors from the police and had 300,000 he didn't report to the IRS and whose source was not explained. The Banks connection extends even further. Sheena Wright, the mayor's first deputy mayor, is also Banks' domestic partner. Her electronic devices were also seized by the FBI last week as part of the probe by Manhattan U.S. Attorney Damian Williams. Both Wright and Philip Banks have sweeping powers within the administration. First Deputy Mayor Wright sits near the top of the ladder, responsible for overseeing most city agencies, including the Budget Office, Public Housing Authority, Social Services, Sanitation, and more. While Banks' role as Deputy Mayor for Public Safety gives him control over the FDNY, Department of Corrections, Department of Probation, Office of Emergency Management, and he also informally expanded his reach to include the NYPD. Terence Banks was a longtime MTA subway operations supervisor who was feted by Adams and other elected officials upon his retirement from the job last year, including with special proclamations from Democratic County Leader Rodney Bichot and Council Member Farrah Lewis. He then created a government relations firm, the Pearl Alliance, which was touted clients on its website that sought business with city government. Terence Banks, however, is not a registered lobbyist. As the city reported, the firm had tried to lobby his brother Phil and David to bring a panic button app into the sprawling school system before hiring the Pearl Alliance. On Monday, the mayor said he had not met with Terence Banks and his clients at City Hall, but did not elaborate. What do we think about the Banks brothers? Did they have any business being in city government or anywhere near the NYPD?
First of all, before we go into that, I just want to say, looks like Scott made a comment here. Looks like he's got some intricate information on Eric Adams. He says, does that include when he was allegedly shot on Atlantic Avenue by a white, when in fact it was the married lady's husband chasing after him? He's talking about Eric Adams. So some EC asked Scott elaborate further. And Scott says, let me find it here. He says, EC, Adams was allegedly shot at by a guy on Atlantic Avenue in the 88 precinct. Before the merge, 88 squad couldn't find any proof. And apparently he was word was he was banging a married lady whose husband caught them and chased him. You know what? Listen, the bottom line is, I don't know, Scott. I don't know, if he has some intricate information.
I know what they're talking about. I'll bring the article up. I know what they're talking about.
No, that's what I'm saying. I know the article, but I remember I have to say at the time I was, who would make up such a crazy story about this white guy shooting at you? But know what we know now, especially the mayoral tenure we've had with Mayor Eric Adams. We know that everything he does is a complete lie. Why would this be any different? He's just always been a liar. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. Thanks, Scott, for weighing in on that. But again, going back to what you just read here, just shows that even without the stem of allegations right now of corruption right now, his decisions, his choice, his elections are terrible. He absolutely the worst appointments. But you have to ask yourself why. Why would you elect Banks? We already have a huge cloud of judgment on him already. An unindicted co-conspirator. Why would you put him in your circle? Why? The only reason I can think why, and you said it back then, John, I'm saying it now, is because you're dirty yourself, right? You can't trust someone that doesn't have dirt on themselves also. That's my firm belief. Terrible decision.
Yep. No, absolutely terrible. They had no business around city government, anything that involves integrity, anything of that nature. Getting a little rumor here in the background saying that 10 or more lieutenants had their phones removed. Most were special operations lieutenants. Yeah, so
exactly what I was saying. They're in charge of 301s, and it's just a matter of, like I said, I agree with you. There could be some special operations lieutenants who don't even realize what they're doing because it's just so busy, and that's not your concern. Honestly, it's the most ridiculous thing. I always thought that the special operations lieutenant, as busy as they are, that they have the daunting task of 301s because CompStat intertwined that into the level of crime and wants a special operations to address some of those complaints because they believe it avoids shootings. And in some cases it does, but it's a daunting task. So I believe some of the special operations lieutenants are probably stupidly and unknowingly part of this, and they just don't realize it if this allegation does come true. But I agree with you, John. There may be some that do know.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. So let's talk about the Kabans. Federal agents also searched the home. Wait, federal agents also searched the home of now former NYPD. Wait, didn't John Shell tell us that there was no raids? They just asked for phones. You remember that? I could have swore I heard John Shell say nobody's home was raided. They just searched. They just took some. They just asked for some phones, and we're cooperating.
Well,
so wow, John Shell lied in front of the news camera. Whoa, like he does every day. What do you think about that? The federal agents searched the home of now former NYPD Commissioner Ed Kaban.
Well, these are also the same people that were complaining about, oh, no, it's not an Xbox controller. It's a PlayStation controller. Who cares? These guys always love to put a spin on everything. That's why I said, if Ed Caban gets arrested, they're going to say, he wasn't arrested. They didn't really put handcuffs on him, not the way you normally do it. He was just detained. He's going to go to court, but it's not necessarily an arrest. I'm tired of these guys. Are we tired of the same song and dance from these losers? Bums. Get them on the list. But you know what? At least they weren't in this article, so at least they're not even in the running.
No, they're in the article. This is them,
No, I'm talking John Shell and Kez Daughtry in the running for chief of department.
Oh, yeah. No, Shell wasn't in the article. Shell wasn't in the article. Daughtry was in it. Shell wasn't.
Yeah.
All right. So they searched the home. They seized his electronic devices. What do you think they were searching for in his home?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think first of all, they're looking for the electronics, and they're also looking for money. Absolutely.
Cash money, baby.
Cash money. There's no doubt in my mind. When I used to do search warrants, we used to always say, look for the money, you find the guns. Look for the money, you find the guns. And in this case,
yeah. Now, I got people like keep some cash in the house, right? Like, you're worried about whatever if shit hits the fan. At least they got some money. Like, and I'm not talking about shit in the fan like the Reds had in the house. I'm talking about if there's a blackout and you can't get to the bank, like we've had blackouts in New York City. I'm talking about shit hitting the fan in that way, like like the bank shut down. There's a natural disaster. At least you have some money until things get back to normal. Hold you over, go food shopping, things of that nature. But Nighthawk 13-13666 says cocaine. I mean, listen, I don't think they're looking for guns because he's got a pistol permit. So it's got to be drugs or money, right? It's got to be drugs or cash money. And the thing is that I know most people keep money in their house, but you could easily say, yeah, I took the money out of my bank. Here, like just check transactions. Maybe you don't even know. I took it out, I don't know, maybe a year ago, a couple of months ago. They're going to look, boom, they're going to see the transaction there, right? They're looking for money. There's not going to be no transaction of where that came from. And then that's going to lead to a lot of questions. So his ties to Adams date back decades via his father, Juan Kaban, who served as president of the NYPD Hispanic Society, representing Hispanic officers in the 90s. At one time, Adams ran 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care, a fraternal group representing Black officers. The two organizations had a lot in common at times, teamed up to criticize the department's lack of effort to recruit minority cops. So the Guardians Association, who recently attacked this podcast, was the NYPD fraternal, but Sal Greco's attorney, I believe, actually ran that organization, Eric Sanders. And I don't believe that Adams had the support to oust him. And I believe he ran against Sanders, and Sanders beat him in an election. So he started this fringe group, 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care, who, by the way, I don't believe still exist. So, you know, that I just wanted a little backstory on that. So it's not like it was an actual fraternal organization. It was actually like a fringe group that emerged out of the Guardians Association because he couldn't take the seat. It's kind of like what Hitler did, because Hitler was a devout communist, couldn't get into the Communist Party, so he started the fascists. You know, the two organizations had a lot in common. Blah, 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 whatever. Juan Caban has 5 sons. One of Edward Caban's brothers and his identical twins, James, a former sergeant in the NYPD, also had his home searched last week by the FBI. James was drummed out of the apartment after he was charged with arranging to arrest a cabbie who tried to return a purse his wife had left in the taxi. Caban claimed the cabbie took $100 from the first, but that was found to be false. After a trial in 2000, he was convicted of falsifying business records and official misconduct. Ooh. Sound familiar? Edward Caban was one officer supervised by another close pal of Adams, Dwayne Montgomery, then a sergeant in the NYPD. Montgomery recently pleaded guilty in a conspiracy to steer tens of thousands of dollars in illegal straw donations to the mayor's 2021 campaign. There's no evidence that a third Caban brother, Richard, has been contacted by the FBI, but he has drawn the attention as his role of the owner of a Bronx night spot, Con Sofrito, that was shut down after ignoring city inspector violations over an outdoor space deemed unsafe. Con Sofrito was a favorite of Mayor Eric Adams, who celebrated his birthday there last year. There's an image of Adams celebrating Caban's. Then NYPD Commissioner Eddie Caban celebrated his brother Richie Caban's birthday last spring in the outdoor structure next to Con Sofrito. And now it gets to the mayor's family and chosen family. So what do you think about the Cabans? Do they have a good track record? Or are you going to appoint them as anything in the New York City Police Department, or give them access to any of your officials or protection?
Absolutely not. I mean, it's been rumored that these guys have been in and around the nightclub life for years, and that they've been on the take. Again, just rumors. I don't have any proof, but I've heard the grumblings about the Cabans for many years, and the fact he made it as far as he did, I was surprised. But for years, I've been hearing allegations, about them hanging around different clubs in the Bronx, and everybody, people might know, if you're from the Bronx, Herpes Triangle, different bars over there, that supposedly these guys were doing some corrupt stuff. Again, no proof, but just rumors. And the rumor mill, it goes pretty far in the New York City Police Department.
Tabitha says, I'm patiently waiting for the FBI to reveal all. I think we all are. I think the entire world is looking right now. The entire world. Lord, that's weird. A comment Daniel Brachia. What is the connection to the PC's office executive team? I'm not sure. If you know anything, let us know. So, all right, let's go further into this article a little bit. The mayor's family and chosen family. Adams has made sure members of his own family have a place in his administration. His brother Bernard, a former cop, served as a special assistant to the mayor, getting paid $1 a year after the city ethics board barred the mayor from paying his brother a planned $210,000 salary. And his sister, Sharon Adams, got a $150,000 a year gig in the Department of Education, the city previously reported. So he was trying to put Bernard in charge of his security team. And he said the reason for it was because of the threat of white supremacy in New York City, that he needed to have his brother. This is like, Eric, In your time in New York City as working for the New York City Police Department, how many times have you interacted or were aware of or know about any white supremacists acting on their own or white supremacist organizations involved in anything in New York City?
Well, I've been referred to as a white supremacist so many times in my career now. I'm still looking for where these white supremacists are. I can't find them. I haven't seen them. Apparently, they're white. They're white, blonde, blue-eyed devils. That's what I was told. I'm white supremacist because I'm blonde hair and blue eyes. But you know the answer. The answer is zero, brother. None.
Well, I'm just going to quote Juju here. You have a hard time looking for white supremacists. You probably are one. No.
That's actually hysterical.
He didn't make that quote. He didn't make that quote. He's not that smart.
Well, shout out to Nighthawk 13666. He knows exactly what I'm talking about when we talk about herpes triangles, Riddlers, other bars out there. You know it, brother. Yeah. Thanks, dude.
Many people in the mayor's inner circle are his chosen family, made up of loyal friends from a long ago, such as Lisa White, a former 911 operator who got a $241,000 a year gig as an NYPD deputy commissioner. Adams claimed her residence when he was running for office. So little backstory on this, right? So a lot of people, when Eric Adams was running for mayor, they're like, this dude don't even live in New York City. He lives in Jersey. So he did a press conference, and he brings them to the home of Lisa White. Lisa White has this apartment, and he walks them through the apartment. And, it's like a small apartment. There's nothing in here. He's like, yeah, I'm a minimalist. I don't need much. I'm in here. Walks him through, shows him to the bathroom. There's like a couch. There's like nothing in there. Absolutely nothing in there. Nothing that appears that this guy who touts himself as a fancy as all hell lives there. Nothing shows that this dude lives there. But he walks through. He does the whole song and dance. This is where I live. This is where I live. This is where I live. Little backstory on that part is that Eric Adams, while he was running, told people that he loves to take bubble baths every day. The apartment that he walks through doesn't have a tub, just a stand-up shower. So, I mean, I don't know. We can't accuse the guy of lying, but, I don't know. Maybe he is a Jersey resident, Maybe he is a Jersey resident. He owns a home in Jersey, though.
Can you imagine taking a bubble bath without a tub?
So he uses that address, and then he puts Lisa White in charge of labor relations in the NYPD. So she oversees the failed health and wellness section that is supposedly to work with cops' mental health and all that. We did an episode the other day about the CO of that unit. I think he was a little butthurt. He was worried. He wanted to know how we felt about his mental health. We didn't really feel too much about it. You got a pretty good job. So we weren't worried about it. But so he puts her in charge of that. And then instantly 1 million people leave that office, right? A lot of people flee that office, and they said that she's insane. She says there's ghosts in her office and people are wiretapping her and all these other allegations. I don't remember exactly what happened, but it was something along those lines, and all those people leave. So he put her in charge again. So what do you think about that appointment of her as he was using her address, and now she gets a $241,000 a year job when she was a former 911 operator?
Again, just another bad appointment by Eric Adams. Everyone that he picks in his circle is shrouded by bad judgment or some sketchy past, or again, someone that's not even of sound mind. And again, you have to look at Eric Adams. That's why I asked you the other day. I said, John, if you were in a position of power and you could put your 5 friends, I get it. You want to put your friends, you want to hook them up, but which friends are you going to pick? You're going to pick the friends that have integrity, the ones that are intelligent, the ones that you could trust, the ones that do the right thing, but not Eric Adams. That's what I'm saying. How could everyone in his circle not be of sound mind, sketchy past, sexual allegations of being on the take, but not him? Not him. He's free from everything. Bum. Get him out too.
All right, let's get to somebody really that everybody's calling. Like, why is this guy not stepping down? A prominent figure in the wide-ranging role in helping Adams run the city is Timothy Pearson, a former NYPD cop. Nicknamed Crumbs Pearson, former NYPD cops who said to be among the mayor's closest friends, dating back to when they were both serving in management positions in the NYPD. Pearson as an inspector, Adams as a captain. Adams appointed him to be a senior mayoral aide in May of 2022, hiring him through a city economic development corporation, an arrangement that allowed Pearson to keep collecting his police department pension. Scam. Pearson is currently facing 4 lawsuits accusing him of sexual harassment and retaliation, and 2 inquiries by the city's Department of Investigation. He also had his home searched and his devices seized by federal agents last week. In one of the lawsuits, former NYPD chief Matildis Mamara, describes his interaction with Mayor's brother Bernard. Mamara says when he notified Bernard Adams about the accusations that Pearson was sexually harassing female staffers, Adams dismissed him, stating, "That's just Tim being Tim." And another top aide, perhaps the mayor's closest allies, also has ties to the mayor's days as a cop. Ingrid Lewis Martin, his chief advisor, is married to Glenn Martin, who was in the police academy with Adams and became one of his closest friends. She's been with Adams for years, serving as his top aide when he was a state senator, represent Crown Heights, his top deputy when he was a Brooklyn borough president, and his top advisor on all political campaigns. There's been no indication that federal authorities have sought evidence from Lewis Martin. But she, too, has spoken of members of City Hall Circle as family, calling the mayor's director of Asian Affairs, Winnie Greco, her baby sister. When introducing her at Gracie Mansion event, Greco's mother attended at the event. She referred to Adams as another sibling in the family. I have the pleasure of introducing Winnie's mom to her son. Greco's niece, Wei Ying Cheng, was hired by the mayor's office at a salary of $80,000 and now earns $120,000 according to city records. Greco has also been, no relation to Sal Greco, has also been closely associated with Adams' son, Jordan Coleman. Document reported that Coleman traveled with Greco to San Francisco to prevent accommodation to a family association there. His stay in a taxpayer-funded hotel shelter in Queens, where Greco was also living, owned by a major mayoral donor, is under Department of Investigation review. Federal agents searched Greco's 2 Bronx home in February, part of an investigation conducted by Brooklyn U.S. Attorney Bron Pierce. Ethics authorities. So that's a lot of shit there. So what do you think about that?
Oh my God, there's a lot of information. Listen, again, this administration is just riddled with allegations. It's riddled with sketchy people. Timothy Pearson is the last person. I mean, listen, I get it. You have friends that you grow up with, and sometimes you go in different paths, right? I'm sure, John, you have friends that you were friendly with, and you guys went in different paths. Same thing for me. These are not people I would put next to me in professional business. Absolutely not. It's a horrible pick. I mean, he has 4 separate allegations of sexual misconduct, and there are 4 cases that are independent from each other. He's been riddled with controversy. He's involved in a case with a physical confrontation. He's been known as a bum at Resorts World Casino. Again, bum. Even Tabitha says it here. Bum. He should not even be anywhere near anything when it comes to the mayor or this administration or the NYPD. And the fact that he has uniform equipment half the time is another blight on this administration, another indication of misconduct and corruption. Get him out anywhere near this administration. I hope when Adams goes, he goes with him.
The post cover today is pretty funny. I gotta pull that up too. Out on his brass. It's a picture of Ed Kaban. I gotta get that one up in a little bit. But ethics authorities. Adams' activities brush up against strict city ethics rules that bar using public office to benefit family and associates with things like city jobs or contracts. It covers spouses, domestic partners, children, parents, siblings, and anyone who has a business or financial relationship with the public servant. The rules are why the city's Conflict of Interest Board told Adams he could not hire his brother. But enforcing those laws is tough, said Columbia law professor Richard Briefault, former chair of the city's Conflict of Interest Board, in part because there's no city agency or staff that proactively roots out the wrongdoing. It's not a police force that goes out and does patrol. It's more like a fire department that responds to alarms, he said. In the Adams administration, it's been clear from the start the mayor does seem to have a high level of trust in certain people with whom he's closely connected, he said. But whether any of those actions veer into unlawfulness or whether there's proof is unknown. You should be using your public power for public benefit. It's wrong to use it for private benefit for yourself and for people with whom you are associated with, he said. I mean, I think it's a weak statement, but I agree with the statement. It should, like, shouldn't be used for that, but obviously it is, right? Obviously, that's what he's using it for.
I'm sorry. I'm paying attention, but I don't know if you saw. It hasn't stopped. My phone. There's a video going around of the Hispanic Society, and people dancing like a white party, and then of course pictures of Kaban. But it's getting crazy. This is what's going on here. I mean, everyone's communicating right now. What's going on? This administration has no ethics. It has no ethos. I'm embarrassed by this administration. Embarrassed by what's going on with this New York City Police Department. How can we move further, brother? That's the key. We have to move further. And unfortunately, right now, this is going to get far worse before it gets better, especially for the NYPD. Especially, again, Ed Caban is not the fall guy. Ed Caban is no way. He's just at the focal point right now. And you know what? The fact that they think he's going to go down this, if there is some teeth to this by himself, is insane. I hope he goes out singing, brother. I really do.
Yeah, Laura asked, what has Rudy said about this, Sheriff Clark or Grady Judd? You know what? I'm really looking for Rudy Giuliani's thoughts. I got a lot of calls over the past few days from media, and I said the same thing. You guys should call Rudy Giuliani and see what he has to say about it, because I really am curious what he has to say about it. I actually spoke to someone pretty close to him yesterday, and I said, hey, is the mayor going to do a show on this? Like, I want to know what his thoughts are on this. Like, I told him, I said, I keep getting calls and I keep referring them to Giuliani. Like, I'm not giving a comment. I want to hear what he's got to say about it. Cause I think as much as shit he's been getting and people beat him up, I think he's going to give the clearest picture of how people should look at this and what we should look at it as. And it's very important that we hear Rudy Giuliani's thoughts in this moment, but everybody's been silent. Where's Bill Bratton? Where's Ray Kelly? Where's all the former police commissioners? I want to hear their thoughts. Bernie Kerrick retweeted the video that I put out yesterday, and he said, this is like the 70s. I guess you could take it as a comment, but I would like to hear a real, like, in-depth conversation from one of them about what's going on and what should be done about this.
Joe Mangler says, Eric and John, do you think Adams would ever bring back Secreto out of NYCHA and back to the NYPD to be PC, or is he not one of the psych boys? First of all, I was in housing. I worked for Secreto. Another guy, nice guy syndrome, but not a guy I would want in charge. He is one of the kings of nepotism. His whole game is about nepotism. Absolutely not. Bum. No.
Yeah, I don't really know Secreto. I know he's a nice guy, but that's all I
Nice guy. Nice guy like many others in this police department. Nice guy, but not intelligent guy.
Yeah. All right. Let's so we were kind of talking about this scandal before it actually hit mainstream, right? And he is us on it's actually the Mighty Fuzz podcast, good friend of the podcast. Mighty Fuzz Young came out of the music industry. He's got a podcast. He's part of the de jour movement in New York. But he titled this episode "Two Cops and a Convict." So I'm gonna play a clip from that for you guys, and then we'll get back into this.
The NYPD. We're watching corruption at the upper echelon to the NYPD. Can we start on what exactly is happening, what you guys are seeing, and your opinion on what's happening in New York?
I'll take a stab at this one here. So I think that at this point, we're at a point where we have a lack of leadership in New York City, and that's where it's faulty, and it's really scary for the people of New York City, because the mayor is the focal point of leadership in the city, and we expect him to take extreme ownership for what's thriving or what's actually crumbling at this point. And I think that there's a shadow of doubt of what's going on in this cloud of suspicion. I do believe at this point the preponderance of evidence, just based on what we have, is indicative that we do have different levels and forms of corruption going on with New York City at the mayor level. That's streamed into the New York City Police Department. At the top of the New York City Police Department, I want to express that and make that point apparent that John and I, on our podcast, we are very supportive of the rank and file. The rank and file of the New York City Police Department is doing what they're paid and trained to do. But unfortunately, right now, we have inadequate leadership. There's a probe of corruption right now by the feds. They are innocent until proven guilty. But even with that, I do think it's an inadequate, inept leadership, and I do think we need an overhaul, and I hope we see that moving forward.
Yeah. So, and just to piggyback on what Eric's saying, we've been relentlessly attacked by this administration, this mayoral administration, and his appointed officials in the upper echelon of the NYPD and other state, local politicians and other New York City agencies, heads of those agencies. And, for really calling out everything that's kind of coming to fruition now. We've been saying these are low integrity people. Their appointments were very questionable. So it should be of no shock to anybody that knows New York City and New York City politics that these scandals are breaking. There's 3 different types of scandals that are happening right now. One's related to Eric Adams' campaign donations, foreign entities donating to his campaign, as well as illicit donations. A lot of questionable activities around that. At the same time, we're looking at top former NYPD who are now deputy mayors to New York City mayor. They're enthralled in a separate investigation where they're selling contracts, security contracts for these migrant shelters that encompass hundreds of millions of dollars. These people again are very questionable in their integrity, their appointments. So this again doesn't shock anyone that they're being eyed in this. Now, like Eric said, everybody's innocent until proven guilty. And like the Eric Adams always says, where there's smoke, there's not always fire, but there's plumes of smoke. And then the third corruption investigation that's currently going on and being alleged is that the NYPD police commissioner, along with his twin brother, who actually has a taxpayer-funded NYPD security detail, had allegedly started a nightlife consulting firm. And what he's doing is he's supposedly doing what he's being alleged to have been doing is he's going around with the security detail and offering his consulting services. If you hire my security guards, if you pay me for consulting, you're never going to have a problem with the NYPD. And the New York Post has reported that not to be old school mafia style. And I see it the exact opposite way, that is 1000% old school mafia style, because there is an intimidation tactic as if you don't hire us. If you don't hire us, you're going to have a problem with the NYPD.
Yeah, very familiar with all that. That's 101 tactics of extortion, right? That's what we're talking about here, right?
Extortion, baby. That's exactly what it is. So
absolutely. Yeah. And where there's extortion, there's money. So there's no doubt in my mind that when the feds raided, unlike what John Shell said, yes, they raided his home to get his electronics, but they raided to get money. Where there's extortion, there's electronics, there's form of communication. Anytime you have extortion, you need communication. And how do we communicate in 2024? Via cell phone. So the only cell phone, if this comes to fruition, the only cell phone they'll be using is the one in their cell, once they go to jail. But make no mistake about it, this is what we're dealing with right now. And I just want to turn everybody, check out his podcast, though. Great friend of the podcast. Awesome guy. Mighty Fuzz podcast. Check him out. He's a true gentleman. Here's someone that changes life around. It's kind of funny. He called it 2 cops and a convict. But you know what? That's someone that changed his life around. He's a great person. He's awesome. Great family man. Good to the community. He stands by his movement. Stands by we the people. Really intelligent when it comes to U.S. Constitution. He's somebody I support. Check him out. Again, his article is great. It's funny you talk about the Post earlier with their titles, their articles. They've been hit or miss, but this is great. Out on his brass, brother. Listen, if this is true, good. You should be out on your ass. But at the same token, again, he should not be the fall guy. There is no way he is on this on his own. If anyone believes that Ed Caban is on a solo mission, you are on a fool's errand. This is a huge operation. If true, this takes a high level of communications, especially when it comes to these 301s. The 301s are communicated throughout the entire police department. That's why I say get all these bums out. The entire upper echelon if this has teeth, especially with these 301s, because 301s are mentioned in every comp stat, get them all out. It stems throughout the entire job.
Marlon asks, question everybody should be asking, is Ray Martin related to Ingrid Lewis Martin? I had the same question, Marlon. I couldn't find it. I had the same exact question. I don't know, but I would think so. You know, same thing with Daughtry. Do I know that Kaz Daughtry's related to Reverend Daughtry? I don't, but definitely asking it. So, yeah, I think the calls for Eric Adams to step down is really starting to pick up today. Seeing a lot from City Council. I'm seeing these socialists in City Council, and things are bad in New York City when you're looking at socialist tweets from socialists in City Council who their ideology I completely despise, and I'm sitting there reading their tweets and I'm saying, yeah, they're right. Yeah, they're right. Yeah, and I'm like, I want to share it and I want to like it. And I'm like, oh man, I was like, wow, I was like, did hell just really freeze over? Like, I'm agreeing with these people on anything, and it's like tweet after tweet after tweet. It's like it literally could come from me or Eric, and it's coming out of the mouths of socialists in the New York City Council, because that's where we are in New York City. Hell has frozen over. We're in uncharted waters. Play this video one last time to wrap this up. And then I think we wrap this up. We give our closing thoughts, and then let's everybody
Wait, hold on 1 minute. John, 1 minute before you wrap this up. I just want you to bring up, if you have it. If not, I'll send it to you. Do you have the finest message about the pronoun breast bar for the NYPD?
No, that thing's a joke. I'm not bringing that. That's stupid.
I know it's a joke, but it was hilarious. It's the point of where we've gotten to. We've gotten to with the police department. But
so just read it. Read it out what it says. It's gonna take the.
What's that?
Just read out what it says.
Yeah, we know it's a joke, but it's just funny. It's unfortunate. This is what we've gotten to. To all commands, effective January 1st, 2025, all uniformed members of the service will be required to affix and display the new pronoun breast bar while in uniform. Pronouns will reflect members' preferred gender as imputed and approved in centralized personnel resource system. Members of the service authorized to wear an approved department polo will have pronouns embroidered under name and rank. Now, listen, we know it's a joke, but it's just hysterical. That's the point that what we've gotten to with this job, that everything's a joke, and everyone's pretty much, it's a joke, which means there's a lot of truth to it in the sense that highlighting what's going on with the police department right now, the amount of virtual signaling that's going on, the importance they're putting on these woke movements that's affected the police department. That's why I say I feel sorry for the cops right now. They're under the gun right now. This guise of this stem and smoke of allegations of corruption, and also they have to work under this woke movement and all this virtual signaling. It must be a horrible time. Seriously. I mean, it's only been 2 years since I've been retired. I experienced a lot of these things, but it's just getting worse. And that's the whole point I want to highlight.
No, I mean, listen, when I seen it, I'm like, this could be real. You know what I mean? This could be real. That's the sad part. I think that's why it's so funny. Someone put a fake personnel order out there or whatever the hell it was. And it wouldn't come down that way, by the way. It wouldn't even come down as that. It would come out in the admin guide. It wouldn't come out like that. But someone put it out there saying that, oh, people got to put their pronouns on their shirt and they got to have a breast ball with their pronouns on it. I mean, listen, is it far off? Like, I mean, if that happened, if that was real, would you be shocked? I wouldn't be.
No, that's my point. When it came out, I said, it's funny, but it's not far from the truth because, look, you and I attend the CCRB virtual meetings. We were doing it monthly. We've been so busy right now, so we've taken a break. But what's the first thing the DAIA says at the CCRB is they start to announce their names and their pronouns. So it's not far from the truth. This is what we're seeing right now. And the NYPD has become part of this woke movement. And, it's a joke, but a joke is always funny because there's some truth to it. So absolutely, brother.
Yeah. Shamira Rosario says, all this happening under his administration, and it's clear he is an incompetent leader. We need Eric Adams out. Well, Shamira, I'm just going to tell you, it's either that he's incompetent or he's in on the whole thing. But either way, it doesn't matter. Eric Adams needs to go. I've been saying it since he was in for 3 months. This guy needs to go. This guy's worse than Bill de Blasio. 3 months in, I was like, I can't believe what's going on in this administration.
John, what about both? What about both, John? What if you are incompetent and you're in on it also? Because it appears to be that way.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. You know, same scenario. You got to throw the bum out. Throw the bum out. You know. So listen, we did an episode a couple of days ago, and we honed in on the office of the nightlife of mayor and how he got rid of long-standing checks and balances for bars and nightlifes. And we talked about the void that would leave. Viral News New York City said that was a joke. They put this office of the nightlife up, you know, and that's what's checking on what's going on. And there is no public safety void and all of these things. You know, said we were spreading misinformation and all that. And then it comes out, this video comes out that a bar owner actually reached out to the office of nightlife for help. And he gets embroiled in what appears to be an extortion racket, right? An extortion racket. Pay us, you won't have a problem with the police department. Don't pay us, your business is getting closed down. So this is the office of the nightlife of the mayor. I think that those video clips and I think those statements we had put out on that podcast are very significant. You know, what do you think about that? Let's play this. What do you think about that? And then I'll play the video one more time, and I think we wrap this up.
Again, you know, this goes back to, I don't want to give Viral News too much airtime, but again, you know, this argument, this slander smear attacks that we got from Viral News, which, you know, pretty much laughable. We just laughed at it. Just, he sounded like he was having a nervous breakdown, a meltdown. But it started because, you know, John and I saw the progression of Viral News. And, you know, we gave him compliments. We were pretty complimentary to the fact that he was working the migrant crisis, going in some dangerous situations by himself. And it appeared that his progression started to change his viewpoint of the NYPD. I mean, we were on X Spaces where he just completely trashed the NYPD. And he started to butter up to the upper echelon, especially John Shell and Kaz Daughtry. And he started to really, become like a cuck for them and bootlick and talk about how great they are, while simultaneously they're attacking myself and John and pretending to be a friend to myself and John and a friend to the upper echelon of the police department. You can't be a friend to both when they're our enemy at this point attacking us. But at the same time, it was still complimentary. But we could see the progression, and really the line started to blur. You could see he didn't appear to be a neutral journalist anymore, but more as a representative of the NYPD. So I had indicated on social media on X, and I said, are you the new NYPD Deputy Commissioner of Public Information, or are you still a journalist? Because the lines are starting to blur. And it's unfortunate that's what's gotten to that point. But, you know, to say that this is fake news, I mean, why would you even say that? Absolutely. I mean, we see all the stuff that's surrounding. I mean, at this point, we have the preponderance of evidence. Wouldn't you agree at this point, based on everything that we have, we all say it's an allegation. Yes, innocent. You're innocent until proven guilty. But don't you believe that the preponderance of evidence says that there is corruption and that this all has some teeth to it?
I mean, based upon what I just saw in those text messages, I'm sold. I'm sold. Like, based on this video, I mean, the text messages speak for themselves. You know, and that's all it is. You know, Hassan wants to know if we're going live tonight again or tomorrow morning. Hassan, I'll tell you, if anybody gets perp walked out of One Police Plaza, 100%, we'll go live. If any more breaking news comes out of the police department, we'll go live. Other than that, I'm hoping nothing happens until Monday so that we could see again live 8:05 in the morning. But you know, I don't think we're jumping on tonight, bro. We did a 7-hour stint, 3 hours in the morning. We jumped off then we went back on for 4 hours. You know, record-breaking numbers last night, so appreciate all you guys. I think we had 21,000 people in here last night, so that was something. You know, we got 1,200 now in here, and I think that's phenomenal as well. So I think those are great. Let's play this video one more time for the people that came in here late. The Lone Silencer says Viral News is the guy who gets accepted into the club and thinks he made it into the Cool Clips Club, but ends up looking like a clown. Yeah, man. You know, like I said, I think Viral News is he's the dude on the Titanic. He's just sitting there with the violin at the end. He's like, you know, as the sink, he's like, what are we gonna do? We'll just play the piano till the end. So all right, let's play this video one more time. We'll get final closing thoughts, and then let's get out of here. Everybody go enjoy your Friday. Here we go. Here it is, right here.
Federal corruption investigation into City Hall and the NYPD now includes allegations of a shakedown. A Brooklyn bar owner says he was told that his problems with the NYPD would go away if he paid the police commissioner's brother. And he says it was a worker in the mayor's office who tried to help arrange that deal. Chief investigative reporter Jonathan Dienst joins us now with details.
Chuck, the bar owner, had his permits, his liquor license, and his share of noise complaints. But what he says he needed, a break from tough NYPD enforcement. Seeking help, he says he was introduced to a mayoral staffer and then to the twin brother of the NYPD's top cop. And then he says he was asked for thousands in payments.
I felt like it was like I got an ultimatum. Like, it's either you get with this or you're going to get shut down. We're going to make sure you get shut down.
Shamel Kelly says it was this man, mayoral staffer Ray Martin, who first told him he could pay the police commissioner's brother to help get better treatment from the NYPD.
He just said that he was assistant of Eric Adams, and he know people, and he dropped the Mr. Eddie Kaban name because he's I guess the NYPD commissioner, and I was having problems with the NYPD.
Later, Kelly says the police commissioner's brother, James Caban, told him he could help with his NYPD problems if he paid him $2,500 up front. The state liquor authority says Kelly's bar was not facing any charges of wrongdoing, but there were dozens of noise complaints to 311 about loud music. Kelly says he felt too many cops from the 6-0 precinct kept showing up, hurting his relatively new business, the Juice and More Bar, along Mermaid Avenue. And he says his pleas for help from the NYPD and local community board were unsuccessful. Kelly said he never expected that Ray Martin from the mayor's office would give him this advice.
He went on about how he thinks that I should just close the bar. And if I don't close the bar, there's only one way to get the police to stop doing what they're doing, and that's to speak to one of his friends, which was the James Caban guy.
James Caban, an ex-cop, is the twin brother of NYPD Commissioner Eddie Kaban. Kelly showed us phone records and text messages from August 2023, where Martin from the mayor's office allegedly encouraged Kelly to contact James Caban. Hey, Shamel, reminder to call James. Kelly says these phone records and texts show he and the commissioner's brother discussed the issues surrounding his business, a business which was a juice bar by day and licensed to serve alcohol on weekend nights. James Caban allegedly wrote, spoke to the commanding officer, and the biggest complaint from the community board is that you're registered as a juice bar, and now you're doing parties there. Lots of noise complaints.
If you have a license to serve alcohol, it shouldn't matter. And I also explained to him that the community board knew that it was the summertime, so they knew we were going to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday night events.
Records suggest Kelly and Caban also spoke by phone. And that's when Kelly says James Caban asked him for the initial $2,500.
He said that he will mediate my issues with NYPD. He could bring them to me, have a meeting, resolve our issues, is what he specifically said he could do. After he said I had to pay him for it, I felt like it was him trying to extort me. So I just was like, you know what? No, I'm good. I'll just deal with it how I deal with it, and it got worse.
Kelly says the Ray Martin and James Caban connection bothered him.
I assumed that you would be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's call a meeting. Let's figure out what this problem is. I'm not expecting for you to be like, oh, you got to pay me some money if you want this problem to go away. Nah, that doesn't fall with me.
Martin did not return requests for comment. James Caban's attorneys issued this statement. Mr. Kaban unequivocally denies any wrongdoing. His work as a consultant and acting as a liaison between the department and a private company is perfectly legal, especially given his previous career as an NYPD officer. Our client has fully cooperated with law enforcement, and once their investigation is complete, it will be clear that these claims are unfounded and lack merit. Former NYPD Chief of Department and NBC New York consultant, Terence Monahan.
Everything we heard from the bar owner, if those allegations are true, it's at minimal unethical and possibly criminal in the way that they were dealing with the bar owner.
I've been really like hurt, disappointed, stressed, depressed.
Kelly is not just making the allegations now. He posted his concerns on social media back in February, but at the time, few noticed. As for Juice and More, Kelly closed it down in February.
I don't think it was just me. I think that's probably a thing that's going on in New York City specifically, to be honest.
City Hall late today issued this statement. We appreciate WNBC for bringing this information to our attention yesterday afternoon. After receiving this inquiry, we immediately began an internal review and found that Mr. Martin violated the terms of his employment. Mr. Martin was terminated for cause yesterday. We expect all city employees to act ethically and in the public interest. That staffer, Martin, now fired, and again, he has not returned requests for comment. We just spoke with the bar owner again, and he tells us the feds and DOI investigators are with him, interviewing him this afternoon in connection with the ongoing corruption investigations into City Hall and the NYPD.
All right, Eric, what are your final thoughts on this?
So Ron Lason says, I think the evidence was enough to fire him for steering business to Caban's brother. You can't steer business as a government agent. Good morning, my brother, Ron. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But in a case like this, which is a mere allegation of corruption, we would not just terminate this employee. We would keep this employee employed to try to garner intelligence, garner other information while we contacted the feds. We would contact DOI, and we would contact the internal affairs of the police department to do a coordinated effort, joint investigation together to determine, in fact, if there is a stem of corruption that stems to Ed Caban, because James Caban is his brother. This would absolutely not just be a termination. We would also want to do that investigation to exonerate the brother in case there is something does come out. If there's a rumor out of allegations, say, yes, we had this information obtained, we've done our investigation, and we've exonerated our police commissioner. So again, this has a bad stink all over it, brother.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. And you know that statement should have came out from New York City Mayor's office, and it didn't. So you know that's it. So let's I mean. End the story. We played the video. The video speaks for itself. The bar owners alleging what appears to be a shakedown involving the office of nightlife of mayor, Ed Kaban, and that would tie in the NYPD. It ties in the 6-0 precinct commanding officer. How did the police commissioner's brother get access to him? And all of these other things. You've seen the text messages. You heard the thing. That's, it's clear as day what was going on here. The office of nightlife, you would reach out to them for help. You would reach out to them for help if you were having issues with any city agencies, right? Or you're looking to further your business. They were going to help businesses grow, is what the guys at New York City Mayor and the executive director of the mayor's office for nightlife said. That's what they said they were going to do. They're going to help businesses grow. And instead of doing that, it appears that they were running a extortion shakedown racket. That's what it appears. High-ranking city officials, on top of the numerous other scandals that are still going on in New York City, the numerous different illicit campaign donations that are questionable, the money from foreign governments, the contracts, how they're getting divvied out, or people getting kickbacks from them. So, as this continues to break, and this will continue to break, we'll bring it to you. We'll bring you as an up-to-date image. If anything breaks over the weekend, we'll possibly go live on it. Anything that's worthy of it, if anybody else gets ousted, please let us know. Appreciate everybody for being in here. It's 1,286 of yous. If you guys could do us a favor, check the notification bell, subscribe. Any of you guys on social media, if you could just click the like button and share it out. We appreciate you. Appreciate everybody for being in here. All the comments as always, all the donations as always. And Eric, anything before we close, brother?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing. So some people had indicated to me that, well, this guy's taking an opportunity, right? Potentially that this bar owner might be taking the opportunity at this time to come out because maybe he had to pay summonses. Maybe he's lying. And I said that could be the case, right? That could be the case. This guy could be taking the opportunity at this point, sees what's going on. Maybe he did receive summonses, or he was the target of somebody, police department. But that's not the case here, because we had indicated. I have to watch again, maybe find it somewhere in this interview. He says that he posted this information back in February on social media. So just to highlight that, because some people had questioned me on that, and I got different comments with it.
Wait. But the other thing is, why is he speaking to Ed? Why is he speaking to James Caban?
Exactly.
Why are they texting back and forth? Why is the office of the nightlife of mayor steering business to James Caban. Why is that happening?
That's what I said also.
Saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. The guy could be lying. I get what they're saying, but like, where are we getting this from? Like, where are like the overwhelming majority of evidence is the Office of Nightlife and Mayor is steering business to a corruption, racketeering, extortion scam. That's what it looks like to me.
I agree. I think this whole thing stinks to high heaven. And I understand people telling me, oh, maybe he's lying, but he did put on social media, and exactly, I was thinking the same thing. There is a conversation with James Caban. I just think at this point, maybe I don't know if you think the same thing, that we came from an era, and we're still part of that for the rank and file, where it really is the best version of policing we've ever seen, and the only corruption that we see when it comes to the rank and file is crimes. This could actually happen, and it just shows that if you don't keep your finger on the pulse, New York City could easily turn to corruption, or it stems from corruption.
Yeah, Rico says, E-Man Street PhD says, guys got in trouble for foreign tow truck companies. 100%. And this isn't even a legitimate company, dude. This is a fucking extortion racket. It's like, like this is what it appears to me. Your business is shut down, you're going to pay this. It's one or the other. Deal with this guy. He's going to get shut. We can't help you over here. This is Nightlife. Call that guy. Call that.
That's a great point.
Anything before we go?
No, I just want to say, I want to thank our friends that listen to the podcast that stuck with us all week. And we had 2 4-hour podcasts yesterday. This is close to 3 hours. It's been a long week, necessary with all the information that's come out. Thank you so much for all your comments. Marlon, thank you for the intelligence you provided to help the podcast. Our friends and listeners, thank you for weighing in the opinions, the comments, expertise. It really helps us do this together. So thank you so much, Ron Leeson. Thank you so much for helping us. We appreciate it. And everyone, be safe out there. Have a great weekend.
Monday live, 8:05 Eastern time. We'll be back at you. All right. Just make sure you check out our friend Tom Sullivan. Tom Sullivan is the Republican, Conservative, and Common Sense Party candidate for New York State Assembly District 23. Tom is a financial professional who served simultaneously in the United States Army Reserve for 30 years and has now retired. His district covers Ozone Park, Lindenwold, Howard Beach, Broad Channel, and the Rockaway Peninsula.
Come November, I would empower our law enforcement agencies to go out there and do their job and not put them or their families or their pensions at risk for doing their jobs. We need drastic change in Albany so that we have a say in this matter, and they realize people of New York State will hold them accountable.
The Sullivan family has a legacy of service. Tom served for 30 years protecting and defending the rights of others. Come this November, he has earned your support. This advertisement's paid for by the Friends of Tom Sullivan.
There's a handful of retired officers that don't live in the state that have a lot to say about the dream team, as I like to call it. All of a sudden, they retire and have a master plan on how to fight crime, but nothing to contribute when they were here. They want to come back and be part of the dream team. What can I say?
Law enforcement professionals dedicate their lives to serving and protecting our community. But who's protecting their financial futures? That's where Laidlaw Blue comes in. Our wealth management platform is specifically designed for the law enforcement community. Laidlaw Blue is a division within Laidlaw Wealth Management, run by retired New York City detective John McDermott. His status as a retired detective uniquely positions him to establish a deep connection between Laidlaw Blue and the law enforcement community. Our platform is easy to use and provides a range of financial services, including investment management, retirement planning, and insurance solutions. With Laidlaw Blue, You can secure your financial future and provide for your loved ones. Our team of experienced financial advisors understands the unique challenges and opportunities that law enforcement professionals face. We're here to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning and achieve your goals. Laidlaw Blue. Secure your financial future today. Book a meeting using the QR code displayed or call us directly on 888 901 Blue. That's 888 901 Blue.